Welcome to Blog Talk Radio in high fidelity.
Broadcasting from Cincinnati, you're listening to the Ringside Reporter podcast. All the news from the world of boxing right here.
Well, I'm talking to you the way I want to talk to you.
Now, here's your host, Eric Lorda.
And we are live. Welcome to the Ringside Reporter podcast, where we talk about the latest boxing news. If it's related to boxing, we'll talk about it here. My name is Eric Lorta, and I'm here with my co-host, Ringside Robert, and England's adopted son, Joe Habib. We have a great show for you today, and as always, you can catch us on the web at ringsidereporter.com. If you want to call and ask questions, you can call in right now at 323-870-3857. We'll be here till about 9 o'clock tonight, and today we are going to talk about Deontay Wilder versus Anthony Joshua. It's hit a major roadblock, and we'll tell you what that is. And we're also going to preview the upcoming Terence Crawford versus Jeff Horn fight. But first, we get started with the fights this week, which were pretty non-existent, man. BN Sports, and we're just going to touch on these. BN Sports had a card on there, Emmanuel Navarrete versus Jose San Martin. Navarrete wins by a 12th round KO. Give me 1 second here. Let me look at the schedule because I saw some other ones that were on there. Nothing to really write home about. Toka Khan Clary defeated Emmanuel Dominguez. That was the one from Germany. I know Robin Krasnicki beat Stas Kashtanov. He won that fight, and that was pretty much it. It was pretty slim pickings there. One event that did happen last night, I don't know if anybody caught it or not, the Bare Knuckle Boxing Championship. The reason I bring this up, typically I wouldn't, but friend of the show, Bobby Gunn, was fighting Irino Beto Costa. Gunn knocked out Costa in the first round, I think by 43 seconds into the first rounds. But by all accounts, man, everybody loved the show. It got very high reviews. The event took place in Wyoming, and everybody seemed to like it. Robert, did you catch this, or Beeb? Did either one of you guys catch this or catch highlights?
No, I didn't see this.
And the other thing, though, this was on pay-per-view, and while it was only $30, I don't know. I'm not going to pay $30 for it.
I don't know if I would pay for that.
I'm not paying for
just like watching the Terence Crawford fight. I'm not going to pay $5 for that.
Look at
Robert, you are too, Robert. Come on.
Yeah, what are you doing?
No, I'm not. Yeah, you put it on my TV, I'll watch it.
Well, it'll be on your TV if you want it.
Robert,
What,
please.
Robert.
You have an iPhone now. You can buy the app and just cancel after a week.
No, I'm not paying for that.
You get a free week, Robert. Come on. You can cancel anytime after that.
Oh.
Be strategic in your purchasing.
Right. He throws quarters around like they're manhole covers. What are you doing? All right. Let's talk about the upcoming fights here.
Go ahead.
All right. June 6th, Wednesday in London, Luke Watkins versus Lawrence Okoli, 12 rounds for Watkins' Commonwealth Cruiserweight title. Also on that card, Ted Cheeseman versus Paul Upton, 10 rounds junior middleweights. In Hollywood, California, on Wednesday. I think the 6th is Wednesday, right, Robert? Is that right?
That is correct.
All right. Dennis Shafikov versus Hector Suarez, 8 rounds lightweights. Now, it doesn't have like a, like a channel or anything like that it's on, or a network that it's on. So you may want to check around, maybe on, may not be on,
That could be one of those Ring TV things, because remember, Tom Loeffler has started his new company, 360 Promotions. And the last time he had a card, it was on a Tuesday night, in LA. So this could be one of his shows. And last time he had his first card with the new promotion company, they did show it live on Ring TV.
All right, there you go. On June 8th, Friday at Verona, New York, ESPN2, same day tape, Diego De La Hoya versus Jose Salgado, 10 rounds, junior featherweights. Boy, I tell you what, De La Hoya doesn't do his nephew any favors, does he? He doesn't do it.
Well, not only that, Eric. I hope Diego makes weight last time, because last time he was supposed to fight, he came in 5 pounds overweight.
Wow, look at you fat shaming him. That's cold-blooded, man. That's cold. He's junior featherweight. What's the matter with you? He's like a jockey over there.
Oh, let the guy get a solid meal in once in a while, for Christ's sake. What are you gonna do? Starve himself?
Yeah, really.
Please.
Over there flipping in the bathroom trying to make weight. You know what I mean? What's the matter with you? All right, same day on CBSSports.net. Mike Lee versus Jose Hernandez. Isn't Mike 10 rounds light heavyweights? Isn't that the Subway guy? Isn't that the guy from Notre Dame, Mike Lee?
That is correct. The former football player. Yep.
Yeah, I was not the other Subway guy. What's the matter with you?
No.
What's the matter with you two?
No,
not the Subway
no,
guy.
No, I wasn't talking about
dude.
Jared. I was talking about Mike
not
Lee.
The dude. You know, not the the guy that lost all the weight and then he's in jail now.
Yeah.
Yeah, not him.
Yeah.
The other Subway guy.
No.
What's the matter with you?
And you know what? He every time I've seen him fight, he looks good. So.
All right, there you go. Yeah, he doesn't look bad. Is he? I think he's undefeated, isn't he? I don't know. He's not too bad.
That's correct. That's correct. No, he looks, and a lot of his fights have been in Chicago, and they've been really behind him. So. Yeah,
there you go. There you go. June 9th, Saturday at Las Vegas on ESPN Plus. Jeff Horn versus Terence Crawford, 12 rounds for Horn's WBO welterweight title. Jose Pedraza on the undercard.
It ain't going 12 rounds.
Oh, look at you. Jose Pedraza versus Antonio Moran, 10 rounds lightweights. Jose Benavidez versus Frank Rojas, 10 rounds welterweights. Shakur Stevenson also on the undercard against Mesquia. Let's see here. Who else? Anybody? Nobody really of note. At LA on Showtime, same day. Leo Santa Cruz versus Abner Maris in a rematch, 12 rounds for Santa Cruz's WBA super featherweight title. Jermel Charlo versus Austin Trout for the junior middleweight title, the WBC. Ivan Redkach versus Brian Jones, 8 or 10 rounds, welterweights. And that's pretty much all of note here. The big one. Beeb, are you ready for this one? Your man is back. He's back from
Tyson Fury,
England. Tyson Fury. Facing some very stiff competition. Very stiff competition.
Oh, yeah, really?
Sefer Safiri, 10 rounds heavyweights. And when he's not boxing, he's working at Home Depot, hauling lumber. I don't know what he does. He drives it.
I'm nervous. I'm nervous for Fury, not about this fight, but about the future fights.
Well, we'll see how he looks here.
Yeah, but I'll touch upon it briefly. I've been looking at a lot of previous interviews from Tyson Fury before he went on that hiatus. Looked at his physique, looked at him physically, and seeing how he talks and the way he carries himself from then to now. I don't know if you guys have picked up on this, but his voice is all raspy right now. It
is. I don't know what is that.
Yeah, it's that, and if I'm not mistaken, that's a symptom of being strung out on drugs, or that's what happens to you if you do hard drugs after a while. It kind of screws up your vocal cords and your voice, and it dries out your sinuses and stuff like that. And also too, he lost a lot of weight, but he actually looks really skinny now. Like he looks almost like he depleted himself to get down to that weight, as opposed to just losing it slowly and losing fat. Seems to me that he's lost a lot of muscle too. He looks really skinny in his arms and in his upper body. Not that I'm no homo, but I'm just saying, he just looks really emaciated now. He looks drawn out, and he looks like a guy that that had a hard recovery, to be quite honest with you. And I hope I'm, but he just looks. He doesn't look the same. Well, he doesn't look. It doesn't look like he's back. People are saying, "Oh, he's back now. He's in shape," but he just does not seem to me like that Tyson Fury that beat Vladimir Klitschko.
Well, we won't know until he gets in the ring. I mean, that's the other thing.
Absolutely.
We won't know really what he looks like till we see him at the weigh-ins, because you don't catch everything like that, and you could be. I want to see what he weighs at the weigh-ins. and see how he looks, see if there's like, a lot of flab or anything like that, or see how loose he is, or see, how tight he is, So we'll take a look and see. And then I think you're going to be able to tell a lot from this fight, even though.
You're right. You're right. You're right.
Fury is not going to be favored to win. But we're going to be able to see, hopefully he gets a couple rounds in, which I think he will. And because I don't think he's going to put anybody away. He's not really a knockout kind of puncher, but we got to see, how he moves around and stuff like that. That's what that's his big thing was footwork. So that's what I'm really watching here.
But can you see some of those changes that I talked about? Like his voice is different.
I noticed his voice right off on the interviews.
He's very nasally now. He looks really. He doesn't look fit. Like he looks like skinny. You know what I'm saying? Like he looks like you've seen guys like Chavez Jr., for instance,
right?
On the weigh-in, he just looks drawn out. Like he just lost a ton of weight, regardless of it. If it was fat or if it was, he just lost a lot of mass. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know.
To play devil's advocate, though, it could be we're not used to seeing him look like that anyway. I mean, he could be in top shape. I mean, he could really be in good health.
You could be right.
Used to seeing him that small.
Well, there was a time. There was a time like when back to the Steve Cunningham days when he was kind of in shape and he actually had a little bit of muscle to him. But I told you, we do have to see what he looks like in the ring. And to be fair, we're not going to get really a great indicator. This opponent that he's going to be facing next week isn't going to be a good barometer, but it'll show us something. If his, we'll at least be able to see if his, like you said, his legs are still there, his timing is still there. I'm sure we can see that, at least get that. Take that away from this performance next week.
That's the thing, to see if his timing is there. And you'll be able to know that within the first 3 rounds, because you got to figure he's been off for a couple years and his timing is going to be a little off. But as the fight goes on, his timing should start to come back, improve. And that's what I'm looking for, is his timing and his footwork. And if either one of those two are gone, it's not good, man.
And once you ride that white horse, it's hard to get off it. Totally, 100%.
Oh yeah.
Oscar De La Hoya is still having issues with his rehab and his addiction.
Yeah,
and he's been to several clinics.
Yeah,
kitchen utensils, buddy. Robert.
Yeah, my question would be, since he's 6'9", though, what would be the ultimate weight for him? Because I think when he fought Klitschko, wasn't he around 250 or 260? What would be the proper weight for a guy his size to be?
250.
All right, so he was 250 for the Klitschko fight. What do you expect him to weigh coming in? Have you heard anything, or have you,
No, I haven't heard anything.
That's what I'll be interested to see too, is like his weight and what he's weighing in at and all that other good stuff, man. That's what I'm curious about. It's a real curiosity factor here with him, because you don't know, and you got to figure. Hey, listen, man. I mean, he was on, he had the addictions and everything like that. He was off for a couple of years. He couldn't handle the pressure. What makes him think he can handle the pressure now? I don't know. So, I mean, and that's what it was. I mean, it was the pressure of being the champion. It's not all that easy, especially over there in England, when you're selling out things and you're, the whole country is depending on you. In the U.S., I mean, we got a bunch of champions here, but nobody feels like, I don't think that Terence Crawford feels he's carrying the whole country on his back, but every time a UK guy fights, that's what they feel like, so it's tough. On the undercard, Terry Flanagan versus Maurice Hooker, 12 rounds for the vacant WBO junior welterweight title. And let's see here what else on the 10th, June 10th, from Lancaster, California, Robbie's stomping grounds, on Fox Sports 1. Travis Kaufman versus Scott Alexander, 10 rounds heavyweights. It's like a triple header of heavyweights here. But Travis Kaufman, incidentally, side note to this, Travis Kaufman was supposed to face Antonio Tarver.
Wow.
That's
59. Oh my God.
And could not get licensed for whatever reason in California. So
I'm happy about that.
Right. And Gerald Washington is going to fight Wes No-Fire, 10 rounds heavyweights. Michael Hunter versus Iago Kiladze, 10 rounds heavyweights. Not a bad card. Not a bad card.
No.
Not a bad card at all. The week after that, we have Errol Spence versus Carlos Ocampo, and we'll do that next week. We'll do a preview of that next week. But let's talk about here Leo Santa Cruz, and then we'll talk about the Showtime card. Then we'll go into the ESPN Plus card. Let's talk about Leo Santa Cruz and Abner Maris. Does anybody? I mean, is anybody really interested in this rematch? I'm not interested in this thing at all.
Not at all.
I am. I could care less about this rematch.
I don't understand why it's happening, Eric. I really don't. I mean, Leo beat him thoroughly the last time, I thought.
Yeah.
I gave Maris 3 rounds in that first fight. 3 rounds.
Yeah. I mean, what unanswered questions do we have from that first fight? So I'm taking Leo Santa Cruz, whether he knocks him out or he wins, I don't care. Yeah, he's going to win. Doesn't matter. The one that I think is more interesting is the Jermell Charlo versus Austin Trout for Charlo's WBC junior middleweight title. What are you guys' thoughts on this? I think Charlo wins. Do you think he knocks him out?
I would say it's possible, but I'm not 100% sure on that. I'm not 100% sure on that.
Yeah. Jared Hurd made Austin Trout stop on his stool. And I'm really amazed. I don't know how these sanctioning bodies work, but I'm really amazed. Austin Trout fights Jared Hurd. He gets stopped on his stool after 10 rounds, and now he gets to come right back and fight for another title. Look, Austin Trout has had a wonderful career, but he is getting older. I think Charlo dominates him here. And I don't know if he stops him because Austin Trout is not the easiest person to knock out. But I do possibly see a knockout happening here. But I'm wondering how this works. You get one title shot. You get stopped on your stool after 10 rounds. And a few months later, you get to come back and fight for another one. I don't understand that.
Yeah, I don't. Well, I mean, he's not a man. I don't believe he's a mandatory or anything like that. I just think that he's a name, and that's it. I mean, that's the thing. We recognize his name, put him in there against Charlo. Everybody knows. I don't give him a big shot to beat Charlo. You know what I mean? He's Austin Trout, and he's still somewhat dangerous. He can still box. He can still fight. Can he put a game plan together for 12 rounds and beat Charlo? Yeah, I don't know. And what happens?
Yeah, look, I have a lot of respect for Austin Trout. Sure. I mean, he's a good guy. He gives wonderful interviews. He's very intelligent, but I don't know. Maybe this is a feather in Charlo's cap to get a name on his record, but it's kind of sad to see in the other way with the career that Austin Trout has had. You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
I agree. So not much. So I think it should be a decent card. I think it should be a decent card on Showtime. All right, so let's move to the ESPN Plus card. And, we got, let me see, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 fights listed. So for my $5 that I'm going to pay for this ESPN Plus, do I get all 8 fights?
Well, you'll take advantage of the free week trial, and you will get all 8.
Is that right? That's right.
They'll show everything.
Okay. All right. Where did you hear that from?
Yeah. Well, no, because whenever I've talked to like Joe in Indiana and stuff like that, and he's watched fights on his phone, and he says every time ESPN puts on a fight card before they put the Plus app in, they showed all the undercard fights. So I'm assuming since people are going to pay for this, unless they take advantage of the free week, they're going to do the same thing. So I'm only going by what Joe has told me, and I'm sure Joe will call in and he can confirm or deny all that.
He can confirm or deny.
Putting Joe on the hot spot there.
I know, right? Yeah, he sure did. He was like, well,
he didn't sign up for that.
Yeah. Well, me and him are friends, Beeb. I'm giving him a bad time, but no, I'm sure he'll call in and tell me whether I'm all wet or not, which if he does, that's okay.
Gotta give him a heads up that he's going to get grilled.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Yeah.
Indiana, that's what happens. Robbie puts you out in the pasture. So on the undercard, we have Jose Pedraza's fighting. Jose Benavidez is fighting. Shakur Stevenson's fighting. And all fights I'd like to see. But again, they're all kind of squash matches here. And let's talk about Jeff Horn versus Terence Crawford here.
Who the fuck is Jeff Horn?
Oh,
yeah,
come on.
Look, I really feel bad for Jeff because he barely squeaked by with Manny Pacquiao, and I still think he lost that fight. I think he's going to get totally destroyed here because there's levels to this game, and Terence Crawford is at the top of his game, and I think Jeff Horn's going to be totally unprepared. And it would not shock me if this is an early stoppage.
Yeah, I mean, I think Crawford beat them within 6, man. I mean, Beeb, let me ask you, in your opinion, does Jeff Horn have a chance to win this fight? I mean, is
Zero chance.
Aside from Terence Crawford breaking his leg on the way to the ring, tripping over a cord or something like that, is there any way Horn can win this fight?
No, hell no.
Zero chance, because Terence Crawford has so many dimensions to his game. He's a dog in there when he wants to be. He's a gritty, tough fighter. Manny Pacquiao is a flashy finesse type guy. Crawford has some of that. But again, he also has that dog in him. So if Jeff Horn tries that roughhouse bullshit, it's not going to work against a guy like Crawford. Crawford's been in there with big guys that tried to get physical with him. And Crawford is a better inside fighter than Manny Pacquiao. He goes to the body. He can stop guys that are bigger than him with body shots. Manny Pacquiao does not throw a lot of body punches. Again, he's a mid-range guy. He's an ambush guy that goes in and out, doesn't really stay in the pocket, not a physical fighter. He's not a guy that if you get rough with him, he doesn't, he's not looking for get back. He's going to fight his one style, his one way, and he's not going to deviate from that. Whereas Crawford, he can go southpaw. He can fight on the inside. He can box with you. He can move. He can brawl with you. Just like in the Postal fight, there were points in that fight where he just walked Postal down. He was very aggressive with him. He fought, deep in the pocket with him. And then as the fight wore on, when he was well ahead, he started sticking and moving. So this guy is not going to be manhandled at all. Jeff Horn is going to be in for a surprise when he tries to do some of the same tactics to Jeff Horn that he did against Manny Pacquiao. And Terence Crawford is not going to have it. He's not going to stand for it. So I agree with Robbie. I think this is going to probably be, every time I say a fight is going to be a tough fight for Terence Crawford, he ends up blowing the guy out. So I'm going to say that he could end this within 5 or 6 rounds. I would not be shocked. I'm going to see what the proposition is, the over/under, or what the odds are for a stoppage win for Crawford, because that's a good bet. You can get decent odds on that.
Yeah, Crawford's going to stop this guy. This is not the final round. And
they're using the horsehair gloves. Forget about it. Those gloves are nothing to play with. Those are tough gloves to use. Those are puncher's gloves. I don't know. I think they're using an Everlast glove. Okay. But it's the one that has the horsehair instead of the foam pad.
Everlast Pro Glove or whatever that.
Something like that. The same
Mexico or something like that, and it's like
the same glove that Maidana wanted to use, and Mayweather was like, "There ain't no pattern in this bullshit. There ain't no pattern in this shit." He's like, "We ain't using these gloves."
I will tell you, man, those winning gloves are padded. Those are nice gloves.
Oh God,
they're nice.
But as you probably heard, because it's not like a piece of foam, it's not like a consistent type of padding. The horsehair definitely in certain spots when you hit the guy, the horsehair moves around, and there can definitely be some spots there that will be unpadded because of the horsehair that it's moving around. It's not like just a uniform pad that goes across the whole knuckle. So I would be concerned if I was a fighter. I wouldn't want to fight with those gloves, to be honest with you. I think they're very dangerous.
Yeah, I do too. And I'm kind of with you guys. I don't think Horn has a chance to win this fight. He's got a better chance of getting Terence Crawford pregnant than he does winning this fight.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
So
I can't believe you went there, sucker.
So what I think here is, I think there's a problem though. If Horn does win this, or if Crawford does win this fight, all right. If he does win this fight, what's next for him? Who's he got?
Well, Eric,
everybody else is on the other side of the street.
Sorry.
No, go ahead. You said everybody else is on the other side of the street.
Yeah. The rumor I keep hearing, and I think he'd be crazy to do this, but Bob Arum says he wants him to fight Pacquiao in either November or December.
Oh, come on, son. Isn't Pacquiao's fighting what's his face? The machine.
Batista, yeah.
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 I'm not even 100% sure he can buy that one. That's not a gimme. That's not a gimme for him anyway.
No.
And so he's going to fight. So Crawford is going to fight the winner of those two, and then what? And then he's got nobody.
I don't know. I don't.
Well, Arum said he'd be willing to try to make the fight with Spence. If they're willing to sit down. So I know that's wishful thinking. Don't get me wrong. I'm probably being overly optimistic about it. But again, Bob has shown the ability to be able to work with other guys when it's good business. So will this be considered good business? Will this be considered a super fight? Ideally, what I'd like to see happen is Danny Garcia and Sean Porter square off, and then the winner of that fight Spence, and then Spence could bring like 2 belts to the table, to Crawford's one, and then winner take all. At least it won't be for all the marbles, but it'll be for 3 of the belts, which would be a very intriguing matchup, and it'd be a very substantial, significant matchup. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully it can play out like that. But again, wishful thinking. We don't always get what we want as boxing fans.
Yeah, we'll talk about that here in a minute. You're right.
Yeah.
Should this fight be on ESPN or the app on the ESPN Plus?
No, Eric, this should be on our TV. I mean, granted, a lot of people have phones. I get it. But if you put this on ESPN, regular ESPN, like we've discussed before, ever since Top Rank signed this deal with ESPN, people can watch ESPN fights anywhere there are, whether they're in a hotel or bar or restaurant or whatever. You've got a wider access to more people. I understand they want to plug the app, and that's wonderful. But why make people who have to spend a fortune on entertainment, TV, and what have you? Why make them pay more money for fights that should be on our TV? If this app was not in place, all of these fights that they're putting on there would be on our TV. What the hell is wrong with these network executives?
Well, and I can see them saying, all right, we want to showcase it, so we want to put a champion on there, so we're going to put this on the app. But if I was Terence Crawford, I'd be a little irritated. I mean, Lomachenko just fought on ESPN a little bit ago. Here he's got a chance to fight on ESPN. He's got a chance to get a big audience. Instead, they're going to put him on the app, who's going to get just partial the. I mean, he's going to get like, I don't even know what percentage, a small percentage. But not good, man. I'm not sure, Crawford, I think, should be a bigger star than what he is, because they're talking about him fighting Spence, and everybody in the know says, yeah, he's a really good fighter. He's a Spence level fighter. But I don't know, man. I don't know, I don't know how many fights are on his contract. Should he renew with Bob Arum?
No. He's being promoted horribly. He's being promoted horribly. And again, I hate to play the conspiracy theorist, right? I like Bob Arum, but for some reason, there are times when he just makes mistakes. Floyd Mayweather was the prime example of that. In this case, Lomachenko, when he's on ESPN, they promote the hell out of him, regardless of who he's fighting. He could be fighting the Ice Cream Man, and they promote the hell out of his fight. Terence Crawford, they don't push the guy. He gets no backing at all. And you're gonna put him on this app. You know how much potential viewership you lose by not putting him on primetime, regular ESPN.
Mm-hmm.
You don't put a fighter like Terence Crawford on an app. With how many people actually have this app? How many people are actually going to watch this fight that aren't diehards? At least when you put it on ESPN, you have the casual fan who's going out on a Saturday night, maybe at a sports bar, hanging out with his buddies. This thing is going to be on, and they're gonna have Terence Crawford shoved down their throat, basically, because they're going to be in that bar. And the bar is going to have a lot of people. Someone may come home on a Saturday night who works weekends, and they may be flipping through the channels. Hey, let me check out ESPN. Maybe sit there and watch SportsCenter. Oh, wow, it's SportsCenter's on tonight. There's a fight on. Oh, this fight looks pretty interesting. These guys are going at it. No one's going to sit there and say, hey, you know what? Let me pop open my ESPN. I'm not saying no one. I will rephrase that. Not many will be popping open an app and saying, hey, you know what? Let me go see if Terence Crawford's fighting tonight. And I say that with all due respect to Terence Crawford. This app is not proven yet. It's not one of those things like, hey, how many downloads does this app really have on it? I'm going to check that out when I go to the Play Store. Because I don't want to shit all over this app. But again, you can't compare the potential amount of viewership with this app than you can on regular ESPN. Everybody has regular ESPN. ESPN hits more households than Showtime and HBO. If I'm a fighter and you tell me I could be put on regular ESPN, I'm a happy camper. That's probably the best place in terms of intelligence by nailing down that ESPN deal. That was a great move with Aaron. And I'm not saying this app is a bad move either, but you don't showcase your top fighters on this app. This app would be good for, prospects and up-and-coming guys, mid-level guys that you're trying to build. Terence Crawford should be a superstar. He's arguably the best fighter in the sport right now, and he should be treated as such. You don't just put him on an app so only a select few are going to be able to watch this fight. And I hope Terence Crawford ends up leaving Bob Arum, because for some reason he's just not doing this kid justice. This is not one of Bob Arum's great moves in terms of how he's handling Terence Crawford's career. I just don't like what I've seen so far.
No, I don't either. I mean, and he should be a bigger star than what he is. But how much of that is Arum's fault and how much of that is, Crawford's fault? Crawford doesn't do a whole lot of interviews. He's been known to snub the media from time to time. He doesn't like talking to the media. He can't even get run in his own hometown by the media over there. Apparently there was something going on with him and the local newscasters and everything like that, and he wouldn't talk to them.
Oh, wow.
So, a lot of falls on him too. And so you got to wonder, like, man, because this guy, how much of it is him holding himself back? Him going into the auto store and messing it up, and him, having his girlfriends fight on camera and stuff like that. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that, he shouldn't, he's a guy, when you get to be like on this level, you have to start thinking of yourself as a business, and I don't know that he does that. And I don't know that nobody's ever sat him down and said, hey, this is what you probably should be doing if you want me to promote you. I completely disagree, though, with this fight being on ESPN Plus. I think they should put this fight on ESPN. If you want to put the undercard on ESPN Plus, maybe showcase the top two fight, maybe showcase Shakur or whatever. I don't know. Whatever you want to do. But I'll tell you what, this is not the place for this fight.
No, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Do you think that you mentioned some incidences, but do you think it's to the extent where he's like an Adrian Broner type, where he's a problem outside the ring? It is is he someone that you would say that doesn't live the boxer's life? I mean, he seems to me that he's pretty dedicated to the sport. He trains hard, he's in good shape, and he takes the sport seriously, and he takes his career seriously. He's just not one of those guys that's overly vocal. But you know, neither is Golovkin. You know what I mean? Neither was Lomachenko. But these guys are still getting, the push. They don't have to be. They don't have to be. Say again.
Lomachenko's at least doing interviews. I mean, he's at least out there doing interviews and stuff like that. This guy is doing nothing, and I don't know if it's his doing, or if he just doesn't like to do interviews, or maybe he's like a Joshua where he doesn't like to, interfere. He just likes to go and do his job and come home. I don't know.
Well,
but you have to have something. Listen, like the promoters, they don't know what it takes to make a star. Nobody really knows what it takes to make a star. You just don't. And if the promoters, you got to work with them. If they say, hey, do this and do this and do the, and if you don't do it, what can you do? And this could be Bob Arum's way, of making the ESPN Plus try to take off because they're showcasing Crawford. But it could also be a way of him saying, hey, look, man, there's nothing we can do with this guy.
Yeah, this guy's not.
Yeah, he's not going to, he may go off and be the greatest fighter out there, but we can't make a dime off this guy because, and I don't know how much they're making off. I really don't. I don't know.
Sort of like what Wilder's doing right now. Wilder's going out there and he's being very vocal and he's outspoken and he's really talking to everyone he can talk to. And not everyone's doing that,
And Wilder's a different case, man, because I tell you what, I think the reporter, he could really be like, because he's got the gift of gab. He's got it. He will talk to you. And the nicest guy out there.
Yeah, I like that Wilder.
Joke back and forth with you. He's a great guy. So, that's the thing, man. He's got that. Terence Crawford doesn't have that. He doesn't have that personality, So, Beeb, let me ask you a question. Where does he go if he wins? And, we talk about maybe he gets the winner of Pacquiao and Matisse. Where does he go? Honestly, after that fight's over, he's got everybody else is on the other side of the street. All of them. Heyman and PBC have got those welterweights on lockdown. You have who was it? Garcia over there, Sean Porter.
Yeah.
All the big names are over on the other side of that yard.
Yeah. I think two things can happen. Since Manny Pacquiao doesn't work, he's not really with Freddie Roach anymore, and Freddie Roach was a big influence on Manny Pacquiao's decision making, because Freddie Roach was the one that said to Manny Pacquiao, "You should not go near this guy." Freddie Roach was urging Manny Pacquiao to retire. Manny Pacquiao didn't like that, so that's why he's not working with Freddie Roach anymore. So maybe now, Manny Pacquiao beats Lucas Matisse. I could see Crawford going right after him. I could see that being having a big name on your record, getting that scalp on your resume. I could see that happening. But again, I will say this, and maybe I'm being a little overly optimistic. I would not rule out a Spence fight down the road. I really wouldn't. I think Spence could get in Al Heyman's ear. If Spence really wants that fight, I think they'll try to make it happen for him. And I don't think Arum would be against having it. I really don't. So
I can see fight sooner than later. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility after a Pacquiao victory. I don't.
And who do you? And do you? Obviously, both fighters have a good chance to win, but if Pacquiao loses that one, man, that's it. And Freddie Roach, did the right thing by telling him, "Hey, it's time to go."
Yeah.
Apparently he fired Freddie Roach and didn't, Freddie found out, I guess, like everybody else found out on social media or something like that. But it is what it is.
Well, let me ask you this. If Crawford blows Horn out of there, like most people are anticipating, just like they expected Pacquiao to blow Horn out of there, like everyone anticipated, does that kind of give confirmation that, Pacquiao really is way past it and he needs to retire soon? Will that be
No. No, I don't think so. No, I don't think so. Because I thought Pacquiao should have retired before the Floyd fight.
Okay.
So I think
fair enough.
Something left prior to that.
Fair enough.
So you were fighting past the Floyd fight. No, I think you shouldn't have fought the Horn fight. He's done, in my opinion, already. So if he goes out there and beats Matisse, I mean, it still doesn't matter. It doesn't change anything. But I fully expect Crawford to completely blow out Horn. I mean, within this is not going to be competitive. It'll be quick. And you know what? I want to think that it's going to look like the Julius Ndongo fight.
Correct. Very similar.
Because I think Crawford is going to be sky high for this one. And I mean, you're looking at what was he? He was the only undisputed champion at 140.
Yep.
And then moves up.
He gave up all the He gave up all the titles and moved up. So
Yeah.
I mean, exactly. Yeah. So there you go, man. Pacquiao, Jose Benavidez is there for him.
Yeah.
But not too many. Not too many, man.
Yeah, Bob doesn't have a ton of welterweights on that side of the fence.
No. None that are going to make any kind of money. Yeah. None that are going to make any kind of money for him.
Oh, yeah, and you made a good point. Jose Benavidez did call out the winner. He did call out the winner.
Yeah. Well, then that could be because the other thing, too.
That's an option.
Yeah, depending on – because, look, I mean – everybody's a realist, man. I mean, everybody's a realist when they see Pacquiao and Matisse fight. If he doesn't look, if Pacquiao doesn't get rid of him or look dominant in that fight, or just obviously loses, nobody's going to want to see that fight. Nobody wants to see it now. I don't want to see.
Well, hey, Eric, if Pacquiao loses to Matisse, does Matisse get a Crawford fight? Is he a big enough name?
I think that's an option for him. I think that's definitely an option for him. Yeah, he's a name, so yeah, it's an option. So yeah, I mean they're gonna exhaust. I believe that Top Rank will exhaust every welterweight until they have to visit the other side, until they just have no other choice.
Okay. That's plausible too, Eric. I mean, who knows? But to be fair, your assessment is probably more plausible than my assessment. So. I'm being overly optimistic.
I'm hoping your assessment is correct, though.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
All right,
but this fight should be on our TV, guys. This is ridiculous.
Can't you call up Bob and put a bug in his ear, please, Robert?
That's right.
I'd love to. If I had a phone number, I'd be calling it right now.
Or talk to Steve Kim or something.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. He's good friends with that guy. Yeah. What did AB do this week? Joel Lopez in the chat said, "Is AB the train wreck of the week?" What did AB do this week?
I don't know. What did he do?
I don't know.
No.
I don't know.
By the way, Eric, do you have the Lomachenko news in your notes?
Yep. Yeah, you have them in your notes. I sent them to you.
Okay.
You don't
okay.
Read you think Eric's notes are different than your notes?
Yeah. What do you don't read?
You're breaking the fourth wall here, Robert.
I sent the notes.
The fourth wall here.
Hey,
you can't break the fourth wall.
Oh.
We pay our producer money here, and you're
No, because I know how sometimes after you send out the notes, sometimes you add stuff later.
Don't try to sugarcoat it now. We just gave our producer a raise. We just gave our producer a raise.
Yeah, I know.
First set of notes.
Give me a break.
Set of notes.
Okay.
Look at it.
Please.
Why do I even send you guys notes? You're not going to read them.
I read them, Eric. You don't see me asking. You don't see me asking questions.
I read them.
Apparently, some other people don't read.
Asking questions. I study those notes like the Bible, like it's my homework.
He looks at them like you think they're homework.
Look, I look at them like I look at the Beeb Industries financial reports.
Well, you're gonna make a killing on the knockout proposition, Beeb, so it'll be all right.
Change the subject. All right.
We may give everybody bonuses next week in Beeb Industries.
Area code 508. Georgie, you're live.
Hey, what's going on, people?
What's going on?
Hey, Georgie, what's up? My new phone. There you go.
There it is.
What's going on with you guys? What Bob's up to?
So what do you think? Does you want to do a pie bet? You're taking Jeff Horn, right?
Hell no, man. You know that's a mess, man. I mean, I think that's just Bob, you know? I mean, that's like he didn't want to pass the torch from Pacquiao to Crawford to Bud, and he just got this guy in between. That's the way I see it.
Mm-hmm. I
don't think he don't want to lose and break out his fandom and his following and try to divide them between, you know, Pacquiao and Crawford. So he created his think this dude, man, listen. What the fuck? Who Matisse fighting?
Pacquiao.
Matisse is going to fight Pacquiao.
Yeah.
For the title that he took, there was not fucking, what was it? That shit was just floating around. It's a fucking like a regular fucking vacated shit, right?
I don't think it's for a title. I could be wrong. Is it?
No, I don't think it is. I mean,
it wasn't no WBA shit or something like that. He was some Asian dude, some dude from like the Philippines or some shit like that.
Yeah.
I have no idea,
You're
but
right.
I know
right.
he's
right.
The last time I think who he fought, don't he fought some Asian
The
dude?
fight,
The dude took a fucking dive there too. That I was telling Eric that he took a dive. You was telling me now he didn't took a dive.
All right, so the fight will be for Lucas Matisse's WBA regular welterweight title.
There you go.
Regular.
And that shit was a backhanded too. I remember the show because you and me and Eric were discussing that.
Oh, that's right. I
Yeah.
remember that. Now, oh my God, I can't believe it's for a title. Really?
Okay,
Jesus.
so
because I remember the dude took a dive there too. That dude took a dive. They said, "Man, this is all WWE shit, man." I don't even, you know what I'm saying? It's shit like.
So ultimately, what this means is if the winner of this fight is mandatory #1 contender, they for Keith Thurman. So if Crawford fights him, I guess he has 2 belts. I don't know. I hate the WBA.
Yeah.
The WBA is just like, you know, I don't know.
The WBA is a fucking idiot.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
They are. Oh, God. They are.
You're not. You don't want to pay for the app. What's going on the app, brother?
No, I'm not paying for no app.
But at the same time, you got a lifetime subscription to Brown Sugar. So
no. Never mind. I won't say what.
And then the worst part about it is you get the app, and then you got a Chromecast it to your television.
No, I ain't on with that Brown Sugar shit. I think it was the first one who started it out with that Brown Sugar. Now fucking ESPN, Eddie Hearn gonna come out with his own shit too. I mean, how much these vampires want, bro?
Well, Eddie Hearn's really trying to rip you off, George. He wants $20 a month. Come on.
Yeah, but I heard they're gonna get some other bullshit too, like
some
shit like that.
They're gonna get all kinds of. You're
gonna be able to watch the dart championships too as well.
The dart championships. That's popular over there, man.
It is.
Yo, that shit is as big as boxing.
It is. I actually like darts too. I used to be in a dart league.
Same, brother. There ain't no peelers in boxing. You used to believe way back before De La Hoya bought the Ring magazine that was fucking the champion. Whatever the Ring magazine said, that shit is gone. The fucking so-called sanctioning body, the conglomerate of France Combaggery, putting this bullshit fucking, man, this shit's so watered down. There ain't no big fights in the horizon. If the Canelo Triple G shit's not going.
No.
Yeah, well, no, I don't think we're going to.
I still think that's going to happen, to be honest with you. I still think they're going to make that fight, believe it or not.
We got a conspiracy theory on that one, too, so I'll tell you about it.
I think that's going to happen.
Okay.
I think that's going to happen.
They may save it. Hopefully get saved, man, because there's nothing else out there that I'm looking forward for. The whole AJ shit that shit played out, I don't want to even hear shit, man. That's like, I don't even know how to explain it. It's like going to like, let's say like a religious person, and you try to convince it that their God ain't their God, okay? You got to go see the other God. It's not gonna happen. After people they set up their minds on who they backing, man, that's it. It's over. Doesn't matter what. There is a duality in life that you got to try to keep that balance and go right in between shit. And don't go into the extremes. Like Eddie, you remember when I told you about Eddie? That he fucking bring Luke Campbell, and Luke Campbell ain't not gonna accomplish shit, and the UK got to drug Luke Campbell.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, I throw heat at all these people. The mafia's fucking Eddie too. At the end of the day, they don't got the best interest of the fans in hand. They just want to make that dough. That shit got to change, brother. Prismo, that's my call. I don't want to take too much time.
Okay, thanks, Georgie.
All right, Georgie.
Later, Georgie.
Oh, you don't have to kick me out like that, Robbie. The fuck, I thought you my friend.
Hey, Georgie, I would never kick you out. You've always been loyal to us.
Robbie always throws people out.
Always, brother, always.
Robbie's always giving people the hook.
Shout out to, listen, before I forget, let me throw this shit there for humanity, doggy. Shout out to Tommy, free Tommy in the UK. Even that I don't agree with whatever the fuck you say, my nigga. But you know what? We all should defend freedom of speech, even if you right or wrong. Your voice must be heard, and nobody deserves to go fucking years some to jail just for expressing yourself. Fucking craziness. So I gotta say, everybody out there, support the channel.
Okay, Georgie.
So much, Georgie.
Thanks, man.
Much. Also, too, you know what? I read the story last night. Somebody had a story on this. Jeff Horn complaining. He thinks that the Top Rank is trying to mess with him or whatever because the gym wasn't air conditioned. It's just like I guess they're in Vegas or whatever, so they have a Top Rank gym out there and they don't air condition it. I've never really been to a gym that was like, I mean, I don't like working out in the air condition anyway. Beeb, what are your thoughts on this? I don't care where you're at. I mean, to me, it's always easier to warm up if it's hot.
Yeah, this is the first.
Much. I don't have to, loose. It doesn't take me as long to get loose. You just you go in, you're sweaty, you get going, you get going faster because it's hot. What do you think? I mean, it's not really, I guess it's air conditioning in the arena, but it's still hot,
Well, again, this is just from my own personal experiences. All the boxing gyms that I've been to, they're not air conditioning, but they'll have like certain areas, like how boxing gyms will have like areas where there's like machines, treadmills, and stuff like that. That part of the gym will have an air conditioner in it, but the actual working area where the ring is and the bags are, that's not air conditioning. Now they'll open up windows and stuff, let some air in, open up a door, but to my knowledge, and again, I'm an old guy, I've never seen the actual boxing gym have an air conditioner in it. So, and that gym at Top Rank, many people have trained there. Many top fighters have trained there. Many top champions have trained there, and they've always been very complimentary of the establishment. No one's ever said anything bad about that gym until now.
Last thing you want to do, is
and again, I don't want to sound like an idiot, but isn't Australia a hot country anyways? They don't have snow in Australia, do they? They don't have
yes, it is.
So I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't get it either. I'm like, really? I mean, you got air in your gym? I mean, air at Planet Fitness, but there's not air at the place or
First, he's complaining about the gloves, and he's supposedly the bigger, stronger guy, and he's complaining about the horsehair gloves. Now he's complaining about the gym, saying that Bob Arum's trying to sabotage him.
Yeah, he's.
I don't know, man. I mean, is he going into this fight with the right frame of mind? Like he's, you know what I mean? So is he mentally locked in for this fight? Well, if he's already making now, I don't know. I don't know.
That's a good point. Yeah. I mean, he's doing an awful lot of griping. He's doing an awful lot of complaining. There's an awful lot of complaining coming from his corner. There's a lot of complaining coming from him, and they're throwing barbs back and forth. Crawford's team and his team and everything like that. Yeah, he doesn't seem, you know, yeah.
And to be fair, he is fighting out of his element. He's not going to be in Australia. He's going to be fighting in Vegas. So it's tough.
Yeah,
it's going to be tough. It definitely is an adjustment that has to be made mentally to not be in your hometown. Because I believe most of his fights have been in Australia, right?
And he should have came here, like, you know, he should have came there for a couple months, because it's a different thing.
Yeah.
You know, different type of animal, man. You're not used to it. Get in there, get used to the people, get used to the layout and everything, you know.
And I'm going to be honest with you too. Is like Vegas is such a dry heat that when I go down, like when I've been to Vegas like 5 times in my life, and it would be 100 degrees, 105 degrees, it never bothered me. To me, Vegas has the best weather in the country.
Love Vegas.
I love that dry heat. I really do.
Yeah,
you know?
it's like a dry sauna almost.
Yeah, I love it down there.
But it is such, like, I mean, really that's the kind of atmosphere you want to work out in.
Absolutely, no pollen, no allergies, nothing.
The hotter the better, you know. I mean, because like I said, you get loose, you don't have to stretch as much. Your muscles are ready to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't understand him, man.
I love it down there.
Yeah, sounds like a prima donna, you know. I don't get it.
We'll see. We'll see what he says after the fight too.
Robert doesn't work out in there. Robert, you work out in an air conditioned gym?
Hell no. And where I live in Northern California, we do have the dry heat during the summer. So, you know, I would much rather deal with the dry heat than the humidity that, you know, that most people have to deal with. Because when I lived in South Carolina, man, the humidity killed me. I was there for 10 years.
I did my basic training in South Carolina, and we used to go on hikes and stuff. And you could see the guys just dropping like flies. Oh, so hot, so humid, horrible.
The humidity is the what gets you, because you know
that's what it does. Yeah.
All right, let's go to our news and rumors here. All right, Anthony Joshua versus Deontay Wilder. Negotiations have hit a brick wall. You know, the sticking point here is, and this has really come down in the past week or so, I guess Joshua has kind of put his foot down and said he wants to fight in the UK. Wilder, of course, wants to fight in Las Vegas. Joshua is willing to take less money to do it in the UK. My feeling is, you know, just my feeling, kind of my, you know, outside looking in here, is that if there's less money for Anthony Joshua, obviously there's less money for Wilder, and that's where we are. And that's why Wilder wants it in the Las Vegas. Joshua, of course, wants it in the UK just for, you know, I guess he feels safe there or whatever the case. Eddie Hearn has gone on record and said that the fight between Povetkin and Anthony Joshua is very close. They're going to try to put that fight together. If this one falls through, Hearn is going to do everything possible to keep that fight right there to going to purse bid. So that fight he wants to seal up. If it goes to purse bid 100%, that fight is going to Russia, because Rubanski will take that fight to Russia. He's got some pretty deep pockets. So, Beeb, what are your thoughts on? First of all, let's talk about the Anthony Joshua Deontay Wilder thing. What is going on here? I mean, he'll take less money to go to the UK. Wilder obviously doesn't want to give up the money, you know, because I would imagine he's going to get more money in Vegas. What's going on here?
Well, I think, and again, from what I've seen, from what I've heard, and from what Wilder has said, he has no problem going to the UK. He just wants to get a 40% split of the revenue,
which should be a bargain.
Yeah, which is totally fair, because again, these numbers that are thrown out there, what fighters make, we don't know if they're accurate or not, because you can get numbers from 5 different websites, and each website will have a different figure out there. So I've seen, you know, numbers that said that Joshua got 18 million pounds for Parker, and I've seen other reports that he got 13 million pounds for Parker. But every time that they would say Joshua's purse and then they would do Parker's purse, it came out to be like a 65-35 split. And that initial offer that they made Deontay Wilder was less than 35%. So my whole thing is this. I think Wilder deserves more than Parker. okay? Not less. I think Wilder deserves 40%. He can't get 40%. He definitely deserves at least 35. If you want to compromise, give him 37%, right? But don't give him 27%. Don't give him 29%. Don't give him less than what Parker got. So then Eddie Hearn will come back and say, well, he's getting more actual dollars than Parker is getting. Okay, but Joshua is getting more actual dollars when he fights Wilder, or he will get more actual dollars when he fights Wilder than when he fights Parker. So don't try to take these two fights and compare them in terms of which fight's bigger than the other. Because we all know that a Joshua Wilder fight is substantially bigger than a Joshua Parker fight. I think we can all agree upon that. And it needs to be treated as such. Okay? So people could say whatever they want about Wilder. He never did this. They could pull up all the whataboutisms they want. Well, what about this? He never did that. He never did this. But if you ask me today, what's today's date? June 3rd or June 4th?
3rd.
Whatever. If you ask me today, June 3rd. You ask me today on June 3rd, okay, 2018, who are the two biggest names in this division? I'm going to tell you, and I think most everyone out there will tell you, Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder. If anyone out there on June 3rd, 2018 asks me or asks anyone out there, who are the two best fighters in this division? Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder. So all the other statistics, all the other dummy graphics that we want to pull up, we want to talk about stadiums, we want to talk about doing it half the time. I'm looking at where we are right now today. This is the biggest fight in the sport, and it should be treated as such. I have no problem with the fight being in the UK, but don't disrespect Deontay Wilder, his position, his side. He's asking for 40%. That is not unreasonable. Okay, again, 37, but do not give him less than Joseph Parker, because that is an insult, and it's ridiculous to think, with all due respect to Joseph Parker as well, but it's ridiculous to think that Deontay Wilder is not a bigger name and does not deserve a bigger percentage than Joseph Parker. And the big kicker of all with this is that Eddie Hearn will sit there and say, "Oh, we overpaid this guy. We bought Charles Martin's belt from him. We overpaid him to get the belt. We overpaid Parker so we can get the belt." They have no problem overpaying their last 5 opponents, but so all of a sudden they get to this guy, and now they want to start with the underpaying. They pick this guy to all of a sudden disrespect and change their way of doing things with this specific opponent. So that doesn't add up to me. You underpay the previous 5 opponents, overpay the previous 5 opponents, but you're going to all of a sudden say, "Well, we're going to underpay this guy." It makes no sense, because it just defies logic, and just the hypocrisy. The money's not important. We don't want to go to the United States. We don't care that it's more money over there. We're willing to take a loss by fighting in the UK. So take the loss. So if the money's not important, why do you have to diminish what Deontay Wilder gets then? Then just pay him then. You just said the money's not important, so pay him. So reportedly, they're giving him a better offer than the initial 12.5. How much of a better offer that is, we don't know yet. Can the fight still happen? Absolutely. But again, they have to just give him a fair offer. That's it. Just give him a fair offer. And, it is what it is.
This really bothers me. The more we talk about this fight, the more it sounds like Anthony Joshua is afraid to leave his own country. And to me, that's not acting like a true, legitimate heavyweight champion, because all other champions who had the title long enough to make several title defenses, have traveled to different places. Ali went to different countries. Foreman went to different countries. Lennox Lewis has fought in different places. is he afraid of his own shadow? I'm starting to get a bad feeling about Anthony Joshua and his mindset. Look, you're in a top-notch bargaining position. You have 3 belts. You're entitled to be the A side. You're entitled to call your shots. But wouldn't you want to expose yourself to a different audience? Wouldn't you? Because look, you're already number 5 worldwide as far as marketing is concerned. You're only behind soccer stars. Why won't you get out of your shadow and be willing to take your show on the road? Either he's afraid of his own shadow and is worried about what's going to happen to him if he ever has a fight anywhere else, or he's clearly scared to death of Deontay Wilder and wants no part of him. So he's going to try and lowball him so the fight doesn't happen. I'm really starting to get a bad feeling about AJ here.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think he's scared of him. I don't think he's, but I think a fight of this magnitude, I mean, again, I'll pull it back out. I mean, look at the Holyfield-Lewis fight. I wouldn't want to come here either. Look at the Triple G Canelo fight. Look, I don't want to come here. I wouldn't want to come here either if I were him. The problem I have is that Wilder's side has seemed to have done everything they can to try to make this fight happen. That's the thing. That's the thing with me. He's done everything. He's offered him, he said he wanted $50 million. Okay, we'll give you $50 million, but you got to fight over here. That's how we can get you the $50 million. Well, no, I don't want to do that. I want to fight in the UK. All right, we'll go to the UK. Well, we can't get you $50 million. All right, well, then I want a 70-30 split. No. I mean, like you said, you got to do this within reason. It's got to be within reason. I mean, and 40% is very reasonable. I thought Wilder was going to ask for 50% or whatever. He's asking for 40%. That is very reasonable. And there is no reason that you can't give him a 40% share of this. He is definitely worth the 40%. If it was 50-50, I would balk at that. I would say, nah, I don't know about that. But 40%?
What about 55-45?
No.
60-40 is fine.
60-40 is fine. That's what he
wants.
Okay,
all right.
That's
what he Joseph Parker 35%. 35%.
Yeah. And they offered Wilder like $12 million. That first deal we knew was nonsense.
Like 27%.
Right.
It's like $12 million. They wanted Wilder to have $12 million, nothing on the back ends, nothing like that.
Right.
And they offered, I mean, why Joshua didn't take the $50 million, man, I don't know. But
I'm past that. I'm past the fight being in the United States. I don't care if the fight's in the UK. I just don't give the guy peanuts. It's ridiculous to even suggest that they should do that.
Right. And even Wilder has come out and said, you know what? He said, I don't think Joshua is afraid to fight. His handlers are afraid to fight. And that goes with Hearn and everything like that. Now, I know we both read, Beeb and I both heard that Barry Hearn is in the United States meeting with Shelley Finkel.
In New York.
Yeah, they're in New York. So this is that last-ditch effort to try to make this fight happen. We'll see, man. We'll see what happens. In the event that it doesn't happen, Alexander Povetkin is going to fight Anthony Joshua next because he's the mandatory. Povetkin shouldn't even be fighting, but that's neither here nor there. Beeb, does this fight go to purse bid, or do you think Hearn wraps this thing up?
Ryan Binsky's a slickster. He could be he could be meeting with Eddie Hearn, tell him, yeah, we'll sit down, we'll do this, we'll do that, yeah, blah, 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 blah. And all of a sudden, he can pull the rug out from underneath Hearn and say, you know what? No. No, I don't like this deal. I don't like it. He could be saying all along, yeah, this looks pretty good. Then in the 13th hour, say, no, I don't like it. I don't like it. Yeah. The thing goes to purse bids, right? And again, we know what this guy outbid Vladimir Klitschko. Okay, Vladimir Klitschko. People could say what they want about Vladimir Klitschko. He was boring. He was this. He's that, and he wasn't really well known in the United States. But that fight with David Haye was broadcast in 120 countries and had 500 million people worldwide watching it. So worldwide, Vladimir Klitschko is very, very popular. He was a significant A-side against Alexander Povetkin when they fought back in 2013. And guess what happened there? Guess what happened there? Ryabinski won that purse bid, and that fight was in Russia. So it doesn't matter if the fighter is the A side. It does matter, of course, in terms of percentages and who gets more, in terms of the fighters. But you can be an A side fighter and have the B side promoter. And anyone that goes up against Ryabinski is going to be a B side promoter,
without question.
In terms of raw dollars. Ryabinski doesn't have all of the fighters that maybe a Heyman has, or a Eddie Hearn has, or a Bob Arum has, but he has capital. He does a lot of things in Russia. He's an entertainment guy over there. He's involved in music and entertainment over there. Boxing's not his only thing. This guy is a big deal over in Russia. So don't be surprised if this fight does end up going to purse bids and it ends up being in Russia. Don't be surprised.
Well, in order for it to not go to purse bid, isn't purse bid, correct me if I'm wrong, Beeb, 75-25 champions way?
It's usually 70-30, but I was reading some rules with, I believe, the WBC, and you could file a petition to change the percentages. There's been, I think it can be no more than 75-25, but it's usually 70-30, 65-35 or 70-30, somewhere around there, from what I've understood, from what I've seen in the past.
His only thing to stop him from going to purse bid is to offer him more than what purse bid would be. And now you're up around the 30 to 40 range.
Well, once again, going by what historically Eddie Hearn has done, he's overpaying everybody. According to him, he's overpaid Joshua's last 5 opponents.
Yeah, according to him. Though.
So why would he not? He could very well overpay Povetkin to try to avoid the purse bid. But Ryabinski could sit there and say to himself, you know what? We don't care about the money right now. We do care about the money, but is the money the focal point here? Is it really the determining factor here? We could get these belts and we could control the division, and then we could get the money later. You see what I'm saying? We can hold these belts hostage and keep them over in Russia.
Right.
So $10 million isn't a lot to Anthony Joshua, right?
They can make that. They can make that up and give it to Povetkin on the back end. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So if $10 million is $10 million, $15 million, $20 million isn't a lot to Joshua, what are you thinking? How much do you think it is to a guy that's got billions of dollars?
So
you think he's going to sweat $10 million?
Right.
No.
Yeah. So what do you think? Let me ask you this. Like, what do you think? How do you think that looks? Because I think it looks, if this goes to and you lose it, and you end up having to go to Russia after you wouldn't come here to make that fight, that's bad, man.
Why do you think, and again, maybe I'm going off topic here, please forgive me. Why do you think Eddie Hearn is having such a hard time signing these American fighters? Because they don't trust him. If you can't make this work, then you're gonna get called into question your business acumen. It's gonna get called into question. This fight's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. And I'm telling you, this is just my opinion, and anyone can call me crazy if they want. This is not a good style matchup for Anthony Joshua. It's not. Anthony Joshua is not like Vladimir Klitschko. He doesn't throw the jab as good or as consistently enough as Vladimir Klitschko. He throws a lazy jab. And why do you think he gets hit with so many right hands? Because he'll throw a lazy jab, leave it out there, and look, Takam was hitting it clean with the right hand. So was Parker. They just don't have the power of a Povetkin. Joshua also, when you get inside and you smother him and you take that range away from him, because he's more of a mid-range guy with that hook and those 45-degree punches. Those are his best weapons, and he's most effective in the mid-range. But when you get up close to him, he tries to fight you. He tries to fight you off him. He doesn't hold like Klitschko. So Povetkin is going to have a lot of opportunities in this fight that he was not allowed in the Klitschko fight. Okay, and we saw what a less than prime Klitschko was able to do to Joshua, and we also seen what Povetkin did to Takam, and we saw that Anthony Joshua struggled a bit with Takam. To be fair, it was a late replacement, but Takam really wasn't in training camp. Joshua was. So Povetkin destroyed and knocked clean out a Takam that had a full training camp, whereas Joshua struggled. Joshua didn't look that great against Parker either.
Yeah, but Takam was not. It wasn't. That was like a late substitution, right?
Correct.
Right.
To be fair.
Right.
But that works against him too because he didn't have a full camp.
No, but he knows what Anthony Joshua looks like.
Correct.
I mean,
But again, you want as much time to get ready for a guy like Anthony Joshua.
Sure.
You may want a 10 or 12-week camp against him.
Yeah.
Not a 4-week camp, not a 6-week camp. But again, it works the same way for Joshua. Joshua was training for Pulev, so again, but Joshua does not look good against these short, stocky guys that fight him on the inside. He doesn't look good against these guys. And Povetkin gets low. He's really hard to hit clean. Catches a lot of shots on the top of the head. And Povetkin has power in both hands. I'm not saying Joshua should not be favored in this fight. Don't get me wrong. But this fight's in Russia. And Povetkin's a 4-1, 5-1 dog or a 6-1 dog. He's worth a play, folks. He's worth a play. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I don't know. I like I said, man, I think that I don't think Povetkin stands much of a chance. I'll be honest with you.
That's a fair point. No, most people don't.
He hasn't. Competition recently. He hasn't been active. He's been popped for drugs a couple of times.
That's another thing. That's
fighting.
But here's another thing, Aaron. Again, the fight's in Russia. Okay, they're negotiating for drug testing. Okay, that becomes a stumbling block in the negotiations, right? Then Ryabinsky says, "Hey, no, we're not going to agree to this." Then based off of that, it goes to purse bids. They win the purse bid.
Yeah, nothing you can do.
And they dictate the drug testing protocol. You're not going to sit there in the back of your mind.
Yep.
And suspect this guy.
Juicing your boy.
Again, I'm throwing a lot of stuff out there right now. This is like a friggin' conspiracy theory. This is like X Factor right now. The Beeb is throwing at you right now.
That's right.
But these are totally plausible things. Not definitive things, but plausible things that can happen. You could very well end up fighting a juiced up to the gills Povetkin with all the cocktail, everything thrown into the meldonium, the ostrium, the HGH, whatever, EPO, and it's going to be in Russia, and you either drop the belt or you fight him. And what's funny too? A lot of UK fighters are saying, not UK fighters, a lot of UK fans and Joshua fans are saying, "Oh, he'll probably just drop the belt." Really? That's going to look even worse then. He ends up dropping the belt.
Yep.
Really?
Even worse, son. So, all right, before we get on to our next conspiracy theory, let's go back to the lines here. 937, you're live.
Hey, what's going on, fellas?
Wood.
Hey, Wood, what's up? Long time no hear from, man.
Oh, no, yeah, definitely. I've been checking in with you guys, though.
Okay.
I was just listening in, man. I really didn't have much to add, it being a slow weekend and everything, and I agree with you guys pretty much on Crawford taking apart Horn rather easily. But I'm with you guys. I just wonder. We don't know the full picture on what Crawford's being, what he's being compensated for this. But it does seem like he would put his foot down and say, "Hey, it's an honor, for you guys to try to promote the ESPN Plus app, with me, and whatever I like that. But this is a numbers game, and I need to be on the main platform so that I can negotiate and for future fights. So I'm kind of amazed that that's not happening, or somebody in his camp isn't looking at it from that perspective. But I think what Beeb said earlier, who knows, or maybe Eric said it, but who knows what Crawford's acumen is, business wise.
Yeah, that's very true.
Well, the problem you have, Wood, is Terence doesn't like to talk to the media, and who knows, maybe he also doesn't like to really stand up for himself. Maybe he likes having Bob Arum or somebody in charge of his career. He's just willing to go along with whatever they decide. I don't know, but I think it's a bad look to have this fight exclusively on a telephone app when you can have millions watching on a Saturday night anywhere they are on TV.
But let's look at that though. Is this strictly limited to phone and tablet, or if you have the Watch ESPN app on a Fire Stick or something, does the ESPN Plus app, allow you to put it on TV?
That I don't know, Wood. I have no idea. I'm not that up on technology. I don't know if that would be feasible or not.
If you have like an Apple TV or like a Google
I'm sure if you have an Apple TV, maybe you could do something. I don't know. Eric, what do you know about this?
No, that's what I just said. If you have an Apple TV, you can put that on the TV. Apple TV or like Google has their little what is it? Podcast or something like that. Yeah. So yeah.
So you don't think the Watch ESPN app on Fire Stick and whatnot, you don't think that will allow you to watch it on TV?
Oh, you can watch it on TV, but it's just not everyone's going to have the app. Not everyone's going to pop it open. Not everyone. What I'm saying is, if you're at a bar and ESPN is on, you would be getting way more viewers that way.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
no, I totally agree. I mean, I'm sitting here now. I might go down to Cincinnati and watch it with a partner, just because I don't feel like messing with another app. I don't feel like putting my credit card information out there for something else. I don't know if it's something I'm gonna want to subscribe to monthly, just based on whatever the schedule is. I mean, hell, I'm not paying $4.99 just to hear Kobe Bryant, say that nobody's on his level with his detail show. So I don't know, man. I'm sitting here like I haven't even watched the Inoue fight from last Friday or whatever, because I still just have, reservations about getting another app.
Well, the Inoue fight was on YouTube anyways. It ended up being on YouTube.
I've seen it. It was only the first round and whatnot, but I didn't watch nothing else on that card.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Man.
I don't know. I just think it's a bad look. Go ahead, Wood.
I was in and out on the show earlier. I don't know if you guys talked about the whole the Trout and Charlo fight, but is anybody uncomfortable about Trout being in this position, being that he's coming off of a stoppage loss?
Yes. Matter of fact, Wood, I'm the one that talked about that. I think it's rather highly suspicious that he fights 10 rounds with Jarrett Hurd. Jarrett Hurd makes him quit on his stool, and he's right back into another title shot against a guy who punches harder than Jarrett Hurd and could seriously hurt Austin Trout. But, this whole Showtime card's got suspicion written all over it. You've got that fight, and then you've got the Leo Santa Cruz Abner Morris fight, who it does not require a rematch. We had a clear-cut winner the first time around. Why the hell do we need to see this again?
Yeah, I agree.
Hey, who's got the better chance to win, Austin Trout or Jeff Horn?
Trout.
Austin Trout.
Wow.
That's probably a push for me. I mean, I don't know.
That's a tough one.
Hey,
Ringside Robert.
Hey, Wood, I've got more respect. I got more respect for an Austin Trout than I do for a guy like Jeff Horn. At least Austin Trout has been in big fights and has proven himself over the years. We don't really know a whole lot about Jeff Horn. We've only seen him fight one fight. We don't
Definitely.
know
I mean,
definitely.
I can't argue anything, pro Horn. I don't know nothing about the guy other than, him surviving that 9th round. I think it was against Pacquiao.
Yeah.
Hey, Eric, I was down in I just wanted to tell you guys I was down in Louisville for that for the Superman Invitational whatever tournament for the welterweights, and I was ringside. There was a guy sitting behind me. I think his name was Joey, but he says he listens to the show and was familiar with everybody. But he sounded like Corey to me, voice-wise.
No, that's Joe from Indiana. He calls in all the time.
He had pretty good seats, too.
Okay, we rapped for a minute.
Oh, okay. Good deal. Yeah, Joe's a nice guy, man.
I never heard him. Yeah, I never hear him call in when the shows when I call in or when I'm listening and whatnot. But like I said, I thought he was Corey just based on his voice.
Nope.
Corey Lee.
Not even close to being a
boxing.
Not even close to being a Corey Wood. Different personality.
Well, maybe not with a little liquor in him, because he was kind of on some Corey stuff that night.
Hey, that's Joe. He's got to cut loose once in a while, man.
I just thought it was cool, though, that you guys had a fan in the house. And, we were both fans and supporters of the show and whatnot. So I just thought that was cool, to be down, a couple hours away from my house and run into somebody, 6 degrees of separation and whatnot.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And where can we find you? Wood, you still doing your podcast and stuff, right?
Yeah, I'm still at it. It was a little tough this week. A bunch of people with no shows for interviews and stuff, so I didn't get a show up this week. Okay. And I'm still kind of getting settled in the house and whatnot. But I'm recording podcasts completely by myself right now. I mean, moving forward, so it's kind of been a little daunting, kind of like learning the program and everything, and not wanting to. I think I did one interview call. And messed around and messed the audio up and had to scrap the interview and everything because I didn't know what I was doing, and I hate to waste somebody's time. But I did have Kaylee Reese on the show before she fought Braykus, on HBO before the Triple G fight with Martirosyan and whatnot. I've had a couple other people on there and everything. I'm still going.
All right. Awesome.
Good for you, Wood. That's a good one.
Interview. Yeah, that's a real good one.
Awesome.
Good stuff. All right, Wood. Yeah, if you guys and subscribe to his podcast, man. He's got everybody out there, man.
Yeah, that's a good podcast, guys.
Good interviews, man. He always does.
Really good interviews.
When it comes to interviews, man. He's interviewing everybody.
Hey, appreciate the love, fellas. Y'all keep doing what you're doing, and until next week, take care.
Awesome.
Thank you, Wood. Nice to hear from you, brother.
All right, let's go to area code 804.
Corey,
there he
is. Boxing.
Oh, shit. How's everybody doing? Eric, Beeb, and Robbie. What's up, man?
We're on another banger.
Oh, no.
I love when he does that.
Hey, man, we growing, man. It's fun, man. I really enjoy this shit, man. I mean, it was kind of tough, starting everything out, man. But the love and the support I get, man, makes it all worth it, man. But yeah, man, I hope everybody's doing good, man. I want to break down some of these fights, man, and hopefully this time I won't get cut off by Eric. But
well, don't go 20 minutes.
Corey, at least this time he called in early, so that shouldn't happen.
With another banger.
Yeah. Oh my God! But yeah, man. I want to break down the Terence Crawford versus Jeff Horn fight. I think it'll be an awesome fight. I think, with that being said, I think, Jeff Horn is very, very underrated right now. I think that, with everything going down, he is the current WBO champion right now, and he's undefeated, man. I've been hearing a lot of chatter about Jeff Horn maybe suffering, some severe cuts in this fight, man, because he has very, very thin scar tissue.
He's gonna bleed all right.
Yeah, man. So that might play a factor in this fight, man. And I honestly think that Jeff Horn, is one of those type of fighters that he can actually do well in this fight, man. I think that Jeff Horn is one of those type of fighters where, when the going gets tough, I think he rises to the occasion. It's been time and time again where Jeff Horn was counted out and him on top and won, man. Notably so, the Manny Pacquiao fight. A lot of people say, that it could have went either way, man. It could have went, Manny Pacquiao's way, or it could have went, Jeff Horn's way. My personal opinion is I scored it a draw, and rightfully so. That was a very, very close and tough plus gritty fight. I think Jeff Horn brought up, I think Jeff Horn just showed, the type of he showed the type of fighter that Jeff Horn is in that fight, man. It took a lot of will, determination, and heart to get through a Manny Pacquiao fight like that, man. He did have 55,000 plus fans cheering for him. Probably a lot of those fans really truly wanted to see Manny Pacquiao. Because that would have been, let's be honest, Manny Pacquiao, for all intents and purposes, might not ever fight in Australia again. So this is a once in a lifetime shot they had. I think it was a great turnout, but let's be honest. There's been little to no promotion for the Jeff Horn Terence Crawford fight. Wow. Bob Arum has really, really dropped the ball on this one. And from what I'm hearing, for all intents and purposes, Bob Arum is not going to come out of his pocket for any more further promotion. From what I'm hearing, I don't know what happened before for the the promotions to happen and for Bob Arum to promote the fight. But last I checked, Bob Arum is a promoter. There's been zero build up to this fight. There's been zero 24/7 behind the scenes, any of that on HBO. And my personal opinion right now is I honestly think that, it's one of those type of fights, man, where, I really want to see it go down, man. But what do you guys think about this Jeff Horn, Terence Crawford fight? I know you guys, who do you guys got, winning? I wanted to.
Well, Corey, we all have Terence Crawford winning, but the problem is you bring up good points. There's been no lead up to the fight, and you're really doing this whole fight card a disservice by putting it on a telephone app and not putting it on the TV. You have to watch this fight on the internet. You can't watch it on your TV unless you've got devices to hook it up.
And that's another thing too, you guys. Since you're all picking Terence Crawford, I understand that, man. But I just really, really wanted to touch on that Bob Arum, scenario, man. I think Bob Arum is getting old. He's pushing 90. And I'm dead serious about that. He's pushing 90.
He is. It just sounds funny when you said it. Behind
the times and promoting. Promoting has reached a new era. There's a new era in promoting now. I'm not gonna say the Frank Warrens of the world and the Bob Arum and the Don Kings of the world, but there's a new wave, man. You got Eddie Hearn. You got guys like Al Heyman. That's getting into boxing and stuff like that. And I think that I even think that Al Heyman from time to time drops the ball in promoting, man. I think boxing right now as a sport is just up for the grabs, man, for an elite promoter to just promote, man. I think every promoter so far has not lived up to the great promotions I feel like we can get, man. You know what I mean? I feel like Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather could have got promoted better. Let's be honest. They only had, 90 days? How many? It was only like a couple months before the build-up for that fight. It was like a last-minute build-up. You know what I mean? And they tried to throw it all together at one time. The numbers did well, but I think it could have did better. You know what I mean? My personal opinion. Switching topics, though, man. My boy, there's only one Tyson Fury. He's back, baby.
Corey Lee's
wow.
thing.
Yes, Tyson Fury is back, man. And I'm happy, man. I honestly think Tyson Fury is the best heavyweight in the world of boxing right now, man. He's the best heavyweight right now, bar none. I know a lot of guys are going to say, well, I got to see him fight first. I got to see this first. I got to see that first. No, you don't. We know what Tyson Fury has. My personal opinion is I think that he's done a lot in the sport. And there's been many fighters over time taking time off of the sport of boxing. You know, he was in no car accident. He didn't get injured. It was just a mental thing, you know. It was one of those mental things. I think. Well,
and Corey, let's be honest. He also used drugs, and he's been out of the ring for 3 years.
Hey, man, he did a little bit of drugs.
You don't believe in rehab, Robbie?
Window.
What about second chance?
Yeah, he did a little bit of drugs for a 2-3 month window, man. I'm not gonna shame the guy, man. I don't think it was an ongoing situation. I think he won the heavyweight title. It got a little bit out of hand. Shit happened. He used some drugs. You know what I mean? You know, some coke or whatever, and you know, he's paying a price. He paid the price for it. You know.
Yeah, but he's been out for a couple of years. Are you going to still see the same Tyson Fury? Not to mention he ballooned up to what? I mean, what do you say, Beeb? At least 400 pounds?
Yeah, he ballooned up, but my personal opinion is his weight right now and the way he looks, my personal opinion is I think Tyson Fury is going to be even better on his journey back than he was ever before he fought Klitschko. And when he fought Klitschko, I think the new Tyson Fury will be a lot better. I think it'll be an elite athlete. And I think that he'll show the world that there are levels to this sport called boxing. He's far superior, the most far superior boxer in the heavyweight division. My personal opinion is I had a big squirm about a lot of guys on my channel. They're saying Luis Ortiz was a better boxer than Tyson Fury. I say no to that. I don't think Luis Ortiz was a better boxer, outright boxer than Tyson Fury. I think Tyson Fury is a far better, boxer. He uses his feet better. His footwork is light years better than Luis Ortiz. He, and my personal opinion is I think his agility is a lot better. You know, his feints are better. You know what I mean? Than Luis Ortiz. You know what I mean? And I just can't wait for Tyson Fury to come back. I got him winning mid stoppage. I think it will go a couple rounds, get the filling out process, and he will win. My personal opinion. I just dropped a video, man. Jermell Charlo is pretty much wow, he's giving fucking Gervonta Davis some major heat, man. I mean, he's pretty much saying that Lomachenko walks the dogs on Gervonta Davis.
I agree with that.
He's pretty much saying that Jermell Charlo is pretty much saying, for all intents and purposes, he's saying that Lomachenko's skill is better.
Yeah.
His speed is better.
Absolutely.
His mental game is better.
Absolutely.
And he said pretty much, his mental game is a lot better. His mental game and his skills are a lot better than Gervonta Davis.
Absolutely.
And, Gervonta Davis gets blown out of the water by Lomachenko.
That's correct.
Do all of you guys concur?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a no-brainer.
Wow.
Lomachenko murks that kid, son.
I think my personal opinion is I think Gervonta Davis, I don't know if he, like I said, I don't know if he wins the fight, but I think Gervonta Davis, I think he does pretty well against Lomachenko, man. I think he can show a good account of himself, man.
Wow,
do, man.
Corey's picking Jeff Horn and he's picking Gervonta Davis.
You're picking Jeff Horn. You're picking Jeff Horn. Let's put a pie bet on that one.
I did not say I was picking Jeff
Corey
Horn.
Lee is on
My
record.
personal pick was Jeff Horn.
Jeff Horn.
my personal opinion about the Jeff Horn is
back with another banger.
Yeah, I mean, look, I had to tell y'all.
Corey Lee is on record.
There to win. You know, he's a champion, and I think he's a great champion. You know what I mean? But there's levels to this. I think Terence Crawford outpunches him. I think the southpaw stance will, you know, I think the southpaw stance will really shake up Jeff Horn. You know, with that being said, I got Jeff Horn. That's right. I got Terence Crawford winning by maybe late stoppage. I think the Jeff Horn's corner might throw in the towel. I got Tyson Fury winning. I got Abner Mars versus Leo Santa Cruz. I got Abner Mars by surprise win. I think Abner Mars can possibly pull it out. I think he'll learn from his mistakes.
Have you been drinking tonight, Corey?
No, Robbie. I have not been drinking. But yeah, man. Like I said, man, I think Abner Mars, you know, will do well. You know, like I said, I think the first fight he misjudged it, and I think that, you know, he'll right his wrongs this time. I think he'll, you know what I mean, he'll be back on a better path. And my personal opinion is I can't wait to see the fight, man. There's gonna be some awesome fights this weekend coming up. I will be going live for all of the fights, man.
Where can we find you, Corey?
We'll be going live for the Tyson Fury fight. You can find me at Corey Lee's Boxing.
Corey Lee's Boxing.
And you know, I appreciate all the support and the love, man. You know, Beeb and Eric, you guys have a great night. Peace out, man.
He didn't even tell me. He didn't say Robert. He didn't even say Robbie. He just said Beeb and Eric. He didn't say Robbie. He didn't even say Robert. He just said Beeb and Eric. Have a good
He took Robbie off the Christmas list.
Robbie out of the equation.
Robbie's not getting the Valentine's next year.
Oh, wow.
You know what, guys? That's all right, because I think he's been drinking something, man. Look at all these. Jeff Horn to be competitive against Crawford, Abner Morris to beat Leo Santa Cruz. Come on now.
Corey's got some
something's going on there.
Corey Lee's Boxing.
Don't you remember he had
with another banger?
Yeah, he had David Hay against Tony Bellew. Yeah, I mean, oh, wow, he's way out there, man.
He had to rip all his David Hay posters off his bedroom walls after that fight. Burnt all his David Hay T-shirts.
I always love going from Corey. I always hate, like, you know, because Corey's such a positive vibe. And then we have this.
He's a fucking mental case is what he is.
Parental discretion is advised to all children out there. Parents, put your kids to bed. Parents, please put your children to bed.
I was hitting on the...
Beeb's giving it to
What did you say, Beeb? I didn't hear you, Beeb. What did you say?
Parents, please put all your children to bed. Parental discretion is advised.
I know. I was gonna say I agree with Robbie. It's a horrible move for Crawford to be fighting on the app. I mean, his fight would probably do 1.5 to 2 million people easy. If Loma and Linares is doing 1.7, I would see Crawford and Horn, who are bigger names, I think, doing 2 million easy on ESPN.
Hey, Jason, I'm going to say something that I'll probably never say again. The PBC.
You've said it before. You've said it before.
The PBC card will turn out a lot better than the ESPN app card.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they've even released the numbers. How many people have the app? I mean, I don't think they're going to for years. I think you know, they're gonna sink a lot of money, and ESPN sinks a lot of money in a lot of ventures, and you know, they have a lot of money to play with. They don't mind losing a couple $100 million. Everybody's always worried about PBC losing money, but you know, let's see how many people talk about ESPN losing money.
This is a pathetic move on the corporation's part. It's really awful.
Maybe like 10 or 20,000 people from Omaha might buy it, maybe. But I don't see any promotion for it with this app, really. They should be having like press conferences or maybe some kind of events for this app, you know, like spend some money behind the promotion, but they're not really doing that. They're just doing it on ESPN, I guess, on the ticker all day long. Also, Beeb, you remember we were having a lot of these arguments about AJ and Wilder a month ago on Facebook when you were getting pissed. You were telling me UK runs this boxing thing, this and that. I was telling you all this shit. I mean, And if you saw this video 78 did, he posted a couple of articles like from 4 months ago where Povetkin told Boxing Scene he knows he's fighting AJ next. And there was another article by this website that I sent to Eric. Eric was crying about it because, I don't know, his dreams about Eddie got exposed or something. 4 months ago, some UK writers telling this whole plan that AJ has. They said he would fight Parker, then he would fight Povetkin, and then maybe after that he'll fight Wilder in 2018 then, but I think it'll be 2019. So this has been in motion for 4 or 5 months. All these writers and fighters know about this. We're the only ones that are acting like this is a surprise.
Right, but you know
this
that
has been on deck the whole time. That's what
you know that plans change, right? You know that plans change. So Povetkin is the mandatory.
No, I know
but
plans change, but the plans, the writers don't know the plans 4 months before they're about to happen and clear in 100% factual knowledge. They don't know that.
That was
How would
their
they know?
plan.
How would Povetkin know he's gonna fight him before Wilder? How would he know?
Because he's the mandatory. That's why.
To be honest with you, Jason,
if you're ready to make a unification fight, you know that.
To be honest with you, Jason,
Eddie himself said that. Eddie himself said that if he were going to fight Wilder, they were not going to get in the way.
All right, take a breath. Take a breath. Take a breath.
So I don't know what you're talking about.
Take a breath. Take a breath. To be honest with you, I believe that was the plan, but there was a lot of pressure being put on Hearn by the public. He started to see that maybe he miscalculated how popular Wilder is, and I think he had second thoughts. I think he wants this Wilder fight next if he can get it done. I don't think the Wilder fight is dead in the water yet.
It is for the next fight.
We don't know that yet.
Don't
know that yet.
Of course we know that. I mean, of course we know that. Come on. Beeb, how do we not know that?
Because there hasn't been an announcement yet for Povetkin Joshua. And if the fight was...
Who cares if it's not been announced? When the writers and fighters are telling you 4 or 5 months ago when this is the plan, he's going to fight Parker, then Povetkin, and then maybe Wilder. I mean...
Yeah, but I think you missed what I just said. You missed what I just said and what Eric just said.
We're going to fight Povetkin. He's been like dropping in. You know?
I think you just missed what Eric and myself just said. Eric said it first, and then I co-signed along with it. That was the plan 4 months ago. But because of the pressure from the public and the sudden interest in the fight, and
there's no pressure. There's no pressure. Beeb, I don't see any pressure on their
everybody is talking about every interview he does with somebody. What's the first question that's asked? When is Wilder Joshua gonna happen?
At home he's Teflon. He doesn't even have to fight Wilder after Povetkin. He'll still be good. I'm telling you. Even if he doesn't fight him after Povetkin, or even if he, like Eddie mentioned a couple of times, they said if they try to take this fight to first bid, we'll drop the belt. Eddie has said this on interviews. So you were talking about it would be worse. They've already introduced the idea that they're not going to take this belt, fight for the belt if they have to go to Russia. Eddie said it himself multiple times that they'll drop that belt. So haven't you seen those interviews?
I haven't. We say he was. I never heard him say he was going to drop the belt.
He said it on IFL. He said it to Michelle Joy Phelps. I think you need to do a little research. And I'm not lying to you. I swear to God.
Doesn't matter what he tells those people. They're not breaking news over there. They're not breaking news.
Shut up.
You shut up. You moron. Can't even listen.
Who do you think you are? TMZ? Who do you think you are? TMZ?
Listen, son. Me and Beeb are trying to school you over here. I can't.
Well, the problem with all this information that's being put out there is it's constantly being contradicted.
It's distractions.
It's just constantly being contradicted. He'll say one thing one day, one thing another day.
That's the plan. That's the plan. Like Trump, they're trying to muddy the waters. That's what politicians do. I mean, AJ wants to be a politician after he's done with boxing. He already told you. Don't you get it? That motherfucker has a political advisor already. The way he's acting. Give me $50 million. I'm ready to go. Okay, no, now it's not about money. Okay, now you can only have $12.5 million. That's a fucking politician for you right there. I mean, I don't understand why you guys are saying we don't know that Povetkin's next. Of course Povetkin's next. Why the hell do you think they put him on the undercard to fight Price? Do you think that was just a fucking coincidence? Get the fuck out of here.
I forgot Jason has the inside sources to all these guys. I forgot he's got all the
inside. Head is so far up Eddie's ass. I mean, he probably can't even breathe right now.
Man. My bad. I forgot you have all the inside track on this stuff.
It's not inside. It's just the pattern. It's just the pattern where things are looking.
He interviews all the top guys. I forgot about that, man. I'm sorry. I forgot about all that.
You haven't, Eric, and you and Beeb haven't even seen him on video say that they'll drop the belt if this fight goes to purse bid. Eddie has said this multiple times on video.
Scour the internet for Eddie videos like you do?
Oh, so you know what's boxing videos now? Do you do a boxing podcast, but you're talking down to a fan that watches boxing videos? Okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right. Well, there you go.
You don't know that. So if the biggest fight is not possible next, I know about it. You're going to try to tell me I shouldn't.
But Jason, you can't take what these guys say.
Yeah, go ahead.
You can't take what these guys say with 100% certainty. You can't believe every word they say.
I don't.
Constantly contradicting themselves.
Next, I don't believe him. I just told you I don't believe him.
And that's fair. And you know what? You can have that opinion, but you can't say, with 100% certainty that it's factual that the Vivek.
It is 100%. It is. It's written on the wall. I mean, you got to be retarded and not see it. You got to be retarded with all due respect.
It's not written on the wall. Then
next. I mean, you got to be.
Then when's the? What's the date? What's the date? What's the actual date? You know it?
I don't care what the date is. He's not fighting for the next.
Where's the venue?
That's the only guarantee in this topic right now. He's not fighting.
Where they fighting? Where they fighting? What venue? What venue they fighting at? Do you know that? What venue they fighting at? What venue they fighting at? Where's it going to be? What venue are they fighting at?
Who cares about venue? Who cares? Nobody cares about venue.
I think you would. If you're going to stage a professional boxing match, a venue is a very important part of that. You can't fight in a rec center. You have to have a place to fight. Who cares about the venue?
Because AJ's not fighting.
That's like saying who cares about a baseball diamond if you have to play the World Series? I mean,
if he was fighting Wilder, I'd care about the venue.
Oh my God!
Good, Eric. Also, Eric was saying earlier that AJ had a decent performance against Teckham, or you can't really blame him. I mean, Parker looked better against Teckham than Teckham looks better against Parker than AJ did, and he had a full camp for Parker. What's up with that?
What's up with it? I don't understand
what do you think? Why was the reason? Why did Teckham look better against Parker than AJ did?
Styles make fights. That's why.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Styles make fights, but when you're scared, what kind of style is that? That's just a scare style, really.
Really? Yeah. So I mean, I'm sure.
Thanks
you can go
for the call, Jason.
Thanks, Robbie. Thanks. Don't cry about it. Peace.
Robbie got him off.
Once again, another insightful call from Jason.
I love when Robbie cuts him off. Said, I've had enough. Thanks for the call, son. Let the door hit you.
I'm sorry. After about 5 minutes, I'm like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah, none of that really made a lot of sense, man. Because and I know what he's talking about. He's but again, we don't scour the internet for videos of like Eddie Hearn and what people say and everything like that.
But the guy will say one thing in one interview. And then 10 minutes later in another interview, he'll contradict what he said in the previous interview. I don't know what to believe anymore when I hear this guy talk, Eddie Hearn. I just don't know what to believe.
And it's not just Eddie Hearn, because we'll hear
everybody.
The thing is that, you can get an interview tomorrow, or an interview yesterday, and the guy says something completely different the next day because news changes. Things change. Things don't just stay the same from hour to hour, day to day, because you're dealing with contracts, negotiations,
and people don't always tell the truth.
Right, well, there's always that. I mean, yeah, there's always that. I mean, none of these guys that are interviewing these people are breaking any news. They're not going to break news on your podcast or on this YouTube channel. They're not going to do it. They're going to break news on a major platform or send out press releases and that kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Or hold a press conference to break news. They're not going to. You're not learning anything.
Well, hey, look, guys.
Skip a lot of those.
Look, guys. We've interviewed people on this show. We've actually made phone calls and talked to people and had them on. Whether we've had them on live or whether we've recorded segments, they have nobody that we've ever talked to has ever said, "Hey, I'm going to give you an exclusive." They've always held a press conference or something, either before we interview them or afterwards.
Yeah,
it's not a big deal.
And very rarely, I mean, Eddie Hearn is not going to drop a bombshell on, you know what I'm saying? He's just not, to whoever he was talking about. I mean, yeah, it's just not going to happen, man.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's go to area code 805. 805, you're live.
Hey, Nacho, I feel bad for you to have to follow that, but good evening.
Thanks, guys. It's okay. Jason is who he is. He can say whatever the hell he wants. I mean, we all know that he contradicts himself every time he comes on, so I really don't necessarily worry about what he says. Sometimes he makes good points, and sometimes he just says some shit where you're scratching your head wondering where the hell he got it from.
That's why I finally said, okay, thanks for the call, Jason, because I just can't take it anymore. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there wasn't really much going on this weekend. As far as the fights this weekend, I'm definitely picking Crawford over Horn. I think as much as I would like Crawford to stop him, I don't think he does. I think Horn's just going to find a way to make it through the full 12 rounds. And I think Crawford just wins a wide decision. Probably wins 9-3 or 10-2. And then in the PBC card, I'm picking Charlo to beat Trout. I think Trout's gotten years taken off his career with the last couple of fights that he's taken on with Hurd and who was his other last two recently?
Didn't he fight Laura too?
No. Oh well, actually, when he fought Jamal, that was the first one.
Yeah.
When he fought the other Charlo, and when he fought, I think those two fights took a lot out of him. And I think at this point, he's kind of become almost like a glorified gatekeeper for the PBC. And I just think, Jermel's better, and he's got more or less in the tank than Trout does. I think he stops him. I think he stops him probably in about 8. I think he knocks him out in 8. And in the main event, I'm not all that thrilled about seeing this rematch because I really didn't think we needed it. But I still think the same thing's going to happen in this one as in the first one. I think Santa Cruz is going to completely outbox and just, outwork Abner Mares.
I really don't understand why we're seeing this again. I mean, it was a clear-cut victory the first time around.
Yeah, exactly. I don't understand the whole idea of having this rematch, but I don't see anything changing from the first fight. I mean, I know Mares is with Robert Garcia, but I don't think he's done enough to me to prove that he's going to find a way to beat Santa Cruz. As long as Santa Cruz is on his game, I think he beats Mares again. I think he wins a decision in that one. And the other one, Tyson Fury, the guy he's fighting, he's a nobody. He's some cruiserweight that they're bringing up just so that he can get some rounds in and shake off the 2.5+ years of rust that he's had on him since he hasn't fought. So I think he's going to beat that guy fairly easily. The fight that I'm interested in seeing on that card is the Terry Flanagan-Maurice Hooker fight, because it's for one of the belts that Crawford vacated. So it'll be interesting to see if Flanagan has any actual, if he's an actual threat at 140, or if he's just a guy who, is just going to be a name because he moved up from 35.
Well, I think Maurice Hooker is the right opponent. If you're going to break
90 seconds,
I think it's the right opponent to put him in against. Because every time I've seen Hooker fight, I don't consider him any kind of a serious threat to anybody.
Yeah, he hasn't impressed me all that much. He's got a nice record, but overall, he's just not really all that great, to be honest. And I don't know. Is it true? I don't know if you guys talked about it. Is it true that Billy Joe Saunders pulled out of his fight against Martin Murphy?
60 seconds.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. He has a hamstring injury, so yeah, we're going to talk about that here in a minute.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, guys. Well, that's pretty much it. It was a light weekend this weekend, so we'll see how
All right,
good call. Good call, Nacho, and we'll see you next week.
All right, thanks.
Awesome.
All right.
All right, so let's talk about that. Before we go back to the phones, we got Ohio on the line here. Before we go back to him, Billy Joe Saunders has pulled out of his fight with Martin Murray. Lots of conspiracy theories on this one. Billy Joe Saunders has pulled out. He's got a hamstring injury. The speculation is that he may have landed a bout with Triple G or Canelo. Now, this is where the conspiracy theory comes in. Is he faking the injury to land a bout with Triple G or Canelo?
10
I don't know.
seconds.
But it's not out of the realm of possibility, put it that way. Beeb, what are your thoughts on this?
Again, that's very fair to think that. But again, we still don't know with 100% certainty that the Triple G Canelo fight is dead in the water.
Yeah.
So we'll have to wait and see. Right now, I can see where people would suspect that, why they would suspect that, but I don't know. I don't think that Saunders is going to be the next choice for Golovkin. Maybe Canelo. I don't know. But I don't think Canelo is going to have a tough fight after that layoff. I think if he doesn't fight Golovkin, then he's going to probably fight Sullivan. That's just my opinion.
Sullivan, to me, is the odds-on favorite to fight Canelo. Yeah. I mean, I know he called out a bunch of big names. He ain't going near any of those guys.
And I think Triple G would go after Murata before he'd go after Saunders. So
Saunders is dangerous, man. He's too dangerous.
Yeah, Saunders. I don't think Saunders is going to be the next. Is going to get a shot at either one of those guys. I don't think he's the next opponent for those guys. So
yeah,
I don't. I think the I'm not sure if the injury is legit, but I don't think he would cancel that fight because he's going to get a fight with Golovkin or Canelo. I just don't see him being the next opponent for either man. That's just my opinion.
Speaking of injuries, Vasyl Lomachenko. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, Eric.
Vasyl Lomachenko undergoes shoulder surgery. Lomachenko apparently tore his labrum. And in the second round of the Jorge Linares fight, he underwent surgery this week. He's expected to make a full recovery. Robert, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, as far as Triple G, so you seriously think, Beeb, that he would go to Japan and take that fight?
It's big money.
Yeah, it's big money. That guy Murata gets 16 million views in Japan. He's a superstar over there. Yeah. He's and again,
the last couple of fights have been on ESPN2 of his. So
yeah, but he's on pay-per-view in Japan. He does crazy.
Okay.
Yeah, he's real. I got to give Mike Montero a shout out because he was the guy that really was talking about this guy Murata and how popular he is. I don't know if you knew about it too, Eric, but yeah, this guy is just.
I didn't realize he was popular. Yeah, I knew who he was.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize he was that popular.
Yeah, sure. I didn't realize that. Mike Montero was mentioning it, and then I kind of did some research on it. Yeah, Bob Arum wants that because Bob Arum promotes Murata, and he wants that Triple G fight, and he's willing to put it on pay-per-view in Japan. He's already said that that's something he would try to set in motion. So that could be another that could legitimately be an 8-figure payday for Golovkin, but probably not to the amount that it would be for a Canelo fight. But it's definitely bigger than any other fight other than Canelo, I would say. Even bigger than a Saunders fight, in my opinion. So,
Beeb,
okay.
Where do the best callers in the world come from?
Ohio.
God, here we go.
Ohio, without question.
614, you're live.
What up, though?
Hey, guys.
Hey, good evening.
What's happening? That's right.
You guys love the show, man.
Thank you,
I was
sir.
listening to Corey Lee earlier. I love listening to Corey Lee. That's what we call the show, man. But
yeah,
Anger.
I disagree with. I was just like, whoa. But as far as when you said with Jeff Horn, I agree. In the main Pacquiao fight, I told y'all this before. I had Jeff Horn winning, and Beeb and Corey had it a draw. I thought it was a lot closer. One thing going into the Terence Crawford fight, some people just think Terence is just going to dominate him and just walk through him. I just don't think Terence is doing that. I'm a Terence Crawford fan. He's one of my favorite fighters. I drove 9 hours from Columbus to see him whoop Pink Lundy's ass at New York. That was my first time ever going to New York. So I'm definitely a fan of him. I don't see Terence beating Jeff. I don't see him just dominating him. Jeff Horn has a lot of heart, and he showed me that after the ninth round with Manny Pacquiao. People keep forgetting that after he got hurt, he went back to his corner, which you thank God that referees don't stop fights like that, and came back and won 2 of the 3 rounds at the end of that fight. He came back and won the last 2 rounds after the ninth round, after the 10th and 11th, probably even the 12th. It's been a while since I've seen that. But he came back and won 2 consecutive rounds straight after being hurt. Okay, that's big, you know. And Terence coming up and wait, I think Terence he can hurt him. Obviously, he can hurt him, but I just don't see Terence walking through him. Now, I will be impressed, but I'm just not making it like it's just going to be an easy walk for Terence, like some people is, because some people will do that. It's always easy work. You know, when Terence is in a competitive fight, then people was like, oh, I don't think he's ready for suspense. I don't think y'all putting too much expectations on too high. He is the pound-for-pound best, but look, he's moving up. Jeff Horn is a natural 147. He's big, and he uses his body. You know, this dude, he's rugged. So that's what I wanted to say about that. Another thing Corey said was about Jamel, talking about Tank Davis. I don't know about Jamel. Don't like Tank Davis, so I'm not going to take his opinion on everything. On what he's got. Now, I think Lomachenko do got the edge against Tank, but I'm not taking Jamel of advice of how he feels about Tank because he don't like the kid. That's like me taking advice from Mike Tyson against Deontay Wilder. He don't like Wilder or like that. Most of the stuff he said was negative about Wilder. So why would I take Tyson's opinion on Wilder? You know?
Good point.
It's just silly to me.
Good point.
Another thing, too, he was talking about his mental state, Tank Davis mental. Well, let's talk about Tyson Fury. He was just praising Tyson Fury. His mental state ain't all there either.
Hey, that's why I finally had to ask him, man, if he'd been drinking something, because he said some crazy crap tonight.
I like listening to Corey, but I was just like, how you gonna pray? You know, Tank Davis got mental problems, but you think Tyson Fury don't? I mean, I like Tyson. He's good for the heavyweight division. People is praising him like he done already won 3 straight fights already. The dude's been sitting down. He probably still cleaning up from cocaine. He probably hit a line or 2. You know, we don't know.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'm not going to be impressed when he knocks the cruiserweight out. I just want him to get back into boxing, and it's good for the heavyweight. But I'm not about to be, oh, he's the best. No. What's that Janet Jackson song? What have you done for me lately?
There it is.
That's right. Yep.
That's just how I see it. That's how I see it. But
right.
That's I want to see what else I wanted to say real quick. Terence Crawford. What is his contract like with Bob?
You know, we were talking about that earlier. We honestly have no idea, but he's not being promoted properly. That's for sure.
I just said I'm going to the Series house. I ain't even got the app. I'm going to the Series house to watch this fight. That's going to actually have the app for 7 days. Whoa! Wow.
Yeah, you're cutting in and out. You're cutting. I don't know if you can hear me, but you're cutting in and out. You're cutting in and out.
You're cutting in and out.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know about. You hear me now?
Yeah.
You hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know. I hate to say it, but it sounds like we might need that Ohio guy, Al Heyman, to talk to Terence Crawford.
You know,
because
all the fighters.
He might change something.
Yeah, all the fighters. The thing is that all the fighters that Crawford is at 147. After Pacquiao and Matisse, they fight. He's going to get the winner of them. He might have another one, but that's it. He's going to run short. Everybody he wants to fight in bigger money fights are on the other side of the street.
And that's true. And you notice that, and that's true because Arum ain't gonna have no choice but to switch over and try to make those fights because it was a time where Arum didn't even want to work with Bob Arum. Y'all remember? Yep. Y'all remember that the fight that he was putting on the Pacquiao versus Bradley 3, the what's the name? Bradley Brandon Rios and Alvarado too. He was putting on because he was running out and in his own top range.
Right.
You know, so those And then he started changing his whole mindset. Oh, Al Heyman is a great man. He's all about, I bet you he is, because it's going to start putting pressure on Terence Crawford in that contract. And Terence will be like, look, I'm about to go over on the side. I see other people like Devin Haney, a lot of these guys that's promoting their shows, getting good. He's going to see that because he is one of the best pound-for-pound fighters. And that's going to be a real tricky situation once that contract situation come up, because I'm real interested in that. I'm definitely interested in that. But other than that, I'm about to be out. I am at work. But I will be listening, guys.
Thanks for the call,
Thank
man.
you so much. OH.
Yep.
Where is it? OH.
Back with another banger.
Corey Lee Boxing.
Oh my
Boxing.
Robert. What's the matter with you? 760, you're live.
Good evening,
what's
Brian.
going on?
How are you? Good evening,
Hey,
Brian. How are you?
Hey, I'm chilling. I was just killing some time watching Golden State whoop on the Cavaliers, but
How dare
Well,
you?
that's good news.
How dare you?
yeah, it's good news.
They're barely winning.
Yeah,
They're only up by 7.
that's where we started.
That's nothing.
Right there. But yeah, man. Hey, you know, I caught the show earlier. I was listening to you guys clowning on Tyson Fury. I was busting up. You was like, you said, man, it looked like he kind of skinny. You said it looked like he losing some weight. His voice is off and everything. Like, is he still smoking crack or what? Man, I was busting up. Man.
Well, we'll find out. We'll find out on Saturday what he does.
Hey, if somebody hit him in the chest and he falls out, you know. But, yeah, and then this whole thing with Terence Crawford and Jeff Horn, man, it's crazy because I didn't even know the date, nothing when they fighting. You know, it was like no build up to this.
Yeah, and it's not even going to be on our TV. That's the most disgusting part of it all.
Yeah. Watch it in the closet, not me.
You know?
I'm not gonna go in the closet and watch it. I'll just wait for it to come on YouTube the next day. I ain't even got to do nothing.
There you go.
You know, it'll probably come on right after they get done fighting. It'll be on YouTube. So
Yeah, right.
So I won't have to go in the closet. But I'm saying that this type of fight with Crawford, you know, they should have at least built it up. If that's who they trying to build up, they should have built this fight up. I think it's going to be a pretty good fight. You know, I don't see Crawford going in there going in there trying to out-muscle Jeff Horn because he's big and strong. I see him using some good movements, some good jabs, you know, just good accuracy and just keeping them where he want them, you know. But as far as knocking them out, I'm a little skeptical about that one. But I think he'll outbox him, though, you know.
For sure, yeah.
What you guys think?
I think he's knocking him
no,
out.
He's
getting.
I think it's going to be early, man. I think he's going to demolish him.
He's getting murked, son.
Yeah. I don't know. That dude, man, he's a pretty tough dude, you know, because he was leaking all in his face when he was playing Pacquiao, and he just, you know.
Remember, Brian. He's going to be in Las Vegas. He's already been complaining about the gloves being used, and he's complaining about the gym not being air conditioning, and he's, you know, he's coming up with all kinds of complaints. And the week before a major fight, if you're the champion, the last thing you want to do is be complaining about things. You want to be focusing on what you have to do in the ring. It tells me that he may not be prepared for what he's about to deal with. I think it's going to end early.
Yeah, maybe, but I see Crawford just going in there, just using his boxing skill against him. And if he gets a knockout out of that and it's early, it'll be good. But I see him using the boxing. But as far as where he'll go next, I think he's just gonna have to go over there and fight them other dudes. Sean Porter, when Keith Thurman come back, go chase after him. Garcia, if he need to cross the street, you know, because I'm pretty sure they're not going to set it up with just him and Spence just immediately. They can build something like that up. If Crawford is as good as they say he is, and they building him up to be, they can build that fight up. You know, they got plenty of dudes to fight in that division.
Yeah, well, you know how difficult it is to leave Bob Arum. Look at Mikey Garcia. He was out of the ring for over 2 years before he could officially leave. So, yeah, if Terence Crawford wants those kind of fights, he may have to do the same thing that Mikey did.
He's gonna have to do business with him, you know, in some kind of way. He's gonna have to do business because he's gonna run out of opponents, and he ain't even getting showcased. That's the whole thing, and he's gonna run out of opponents over there and not even make good money. They're not even showcasing him now. You know, it's ridiculous. I didn't even know when this fight, because, you know, it got canceled, and then, you know, it came up now, but it was like no promotion on it. It sucked.
Yeah, and not only that, it's going to be on the same night that Showtime has a card. So there you go. You know?
Now that fight, I think that's going to be a good fight, man. I think Charlo and Charlo, I think it's going to be a good fight regardless of whatever happens. You know, I mean, Charlo, he's going to get knocked out probably, but I think it's going to be a good fight, you know, because he's fighting them. This, you know, maybe this is his last fight. Who knows? He's going to go all out. I don't know. Because it's just weird how Charlo just decided to take these back to back, you know? Kind of weird. Maybe he on the way out. I don't know. But I think it'll be a good, entertaining fight regardless, you know? I think it'll be entertaining, but I'm definitely going for Charlo. Definitely going for Charlo. Then as far as this Anthony Joshua Wilder thing, I'm done with that. Oh, man, I'm just so finished. Hey, because when you think about it, all we did was take one giant big circle. You know what I'm saying? We back to where we started. Because we went nowhere with this.
Square one.
You know, we back to square one. So everybody was just as optimistic as they was in the beginning about it, because we ain't went nowhere, you know. So I don't know what's gonna happen. Right now, I don't care, you know.
That's it.
I don't even care because if they fight, you know, because I think even if Wilder say he'll go over there, it's gonna be something else, and then something else. I'm not playing this old. You know, Mayweather, Pacquiao. I'm not taking that ride again. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. And that's exactly where it's going. That's exactly where it's going.
That was a long ride. That was a boat ride. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Long.
I hear you, man.
But yeah, that's all I got for today, man. I just had to get that stuff off my chest. You know, you guys have me busting up talking about Tyson Fury. That's fucked up, man.
All right. Hey, all right. Good call, man. We'll see you next week.
All right, Brian.
All right, take it easy.
Good deal. And 602, last call of the night here. 602 from Phoenix. 602, you're live.
Hey, what's going on, fellas? It's Brandon from Phoenix. How you guys doing?
Hey, Brandon, what's up?
Oh, not much, man. Just chilling like everybody, man. Just watching the Cavs struggle.
Hey,
anyway.
I like the sound of that. I'm a Warriors fan, so there we go.
Yeah. But anyway, man, you know what? I'm just going to scrap up everything because everything next week is pretty predictable, man. You know, I think Crawford's going to whoop Horn's ass. It's just going to take a little bit longer than most people think because Horn is a pretty big, durable dude with pretty decent legs. And then Mares versus Santa Cruz. Santa Cruz is just going to outbox him. Trout's wearing down, and Charlo's going to just put it on him. It's probably going to take Charlo. If Charlo's aggressive, and they've been on that streak for the past couple of fights, I think he probably gets Trout out of there around like the 8th or 9th round. And then questions I got, man, is this is my main thing with the Anthony Joshua Wilder situation. Does anybody really think that they could have came up with $50 million to pay Joshua? Because I don't believe that.
Yeah,
I do.
funds and everything. Yeah,
they had the funds.
There was no problem. Yeah, there was no problem with that part. Yeah.
Eddie Hearn said they had it.
No, the money, Brandon, the money was proven.
Yeah.
The money was there.
But to me, okay, so Eddie Hearn. A second, baby. I'll be up in a second. So they said they had the money, right? I just don't understand how you could come up with that type of money for that fight in America when Wilder has no previous history as a pay-per-view attraction.
Well, they were going to put it on pay-per-view.
That's what my dilemma is.
600,000 was the number. From what I read, 600,000 was the magic number to turn a profit and pay off everybody. 600,000. That fight does well over 600,000. Yeah.
Well, the reason
that was at $50. That was at $50 too.
Here
at $50.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be sold for $80 a pop. But here's the problem with that. Here's the problem with what you just said. The reason why is people are interested in this particular event, whereas Wilder never had an opponent where people were interested in, like Anthony Joshua, and that's a credit to Anthony Joshua. People saying, yeah, they're using Joshua's name. Hell, right they are. Of course they're using Joshua's name. So this is just that event that people were willing to get behind, and I'm sure they found an investor or a group of investors or a casino that were very well willing to put this fight on. So that's why they came up with the money. You can't come up with this money if you're fighting Dominic Brazil. Of course you're not going to get $50 million. But you don't think Jerry Jones, let's use an example, you don't think Jerry Jones, or you don't think a hotel in Vegas, or you don't think an investor would put up $50 million for this fight? Hell, someone gave Al Heyman a half $1 billion for PBC, and they wrote him a check, and he had the funds right there. So I mean, for the right opponent, for the right event, for the right deal, it's going to happen. So that's why. Yeah, you can't look at the past. You have to look at you got to look at where we are right now.
Go ahead, Beeb.
I'm sorry. You got to look at where we are right now. These are the two biggest names in the division right now. This is the biggest fight in the sport that could happen at this particular time. This is for all the marbles. This is for all the belts. This is a unification fight, which is going to be for 5 belts, something that's never been done before. And you have a rivalry here. And credit to Wilder as well. He talked this fight up himself. People are behind this fight. Joshua came over for a week. He was on ESPN. He was at NBA games. He was on Conan O'Brien. I mean, I really don't think people understand how big this fight is. Yeah. So it doesn't matter what Wilder did before. This is just one of those events that I think you put these two guys together and it just works. It clicks. That's just my opinion.
Okay. Well, you know what? I didn't realize that they had the money available to them in escrow or however they were going to do it. But to me, it just seemed kind of lofty for somebody to say we could pay this guy this much money when there's no track record or any history of Deontay Wilder being that kind of draw in America. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I mean, if you're talking about $50 million a piece, basically, is what they were saying, correct? It would have been like
No. Just Joshua was getting $50 million, and Wilder was going to get whatever he got.
What will Wilder get?
There's no way of knowing that. There was no way of knowing that. He was going to get whatever.
The third biggest purse outside of like Floyd Pacquiao, Floyd McGregor.
Not only that, it was
guaranteed. It wouldn't have been
guaranteed. So basically, he would have got $50 million, win or lose. And if the pay-per-view went through the roof, he at least he got $50 million. If the pay-per-view went through the roof, he's guaranteed more money. So if the pay-per-view everything did better than expected, he got more than $50 million.
Wilder probably would have gotten less money, possibly, if the fight was in the United States than if the fight was in the UK, possibly, because after you give Joshua his $50 million guarantee, Wilder is going to just get 50% of the profits. They were supposed to split the pay-per-view revenue or whatever. They were supposed to split that 50-50. So Joshua was going to clean up. And pay-per-views are like $80 here in the United States, and Eric says 600,000. If you do 80, 80 times $500. That's 40 million right there. Plus you have the UK pay-per-view, which will probably do 1.5 million at about $30 a piece. That's another 43 million. So that's 83 million right there. You put the fight in Vegas, charge an arm and a leg for tickets, which is what they normally do. Because look at the Golovkin Triple G fight. They had 16,000 people there, right? And they had a 27 million gate.
Yeah, they could do the same gate that Canelo Triple G did. I definitely believe that. If they put that fight on, they could do that type of gate. Because those UK fans, they came over here for Hatton. They'll come over here for Joshua.
But people paid big money in Vegas for ringside tickets. Floyd, look at Pacquiao Mayweather. Pacquiao Mayweather did $72 million at the gate with 16,000 people. They can say whatever they want about their 90,000, but with that 90,000 people in that stadium, the gate is still only 12 million. Okay, so the fight does well over $100 million if it's in the United States. So it's very easy. There's no problem giving Joshua 50 million based off of those figures. Really, there is.
The money's definitely there. Yeah, the money was there. It's here in the U.S., but they can't guarantee him that 50 million over there. So, what are you going to do?
Well, you know what? I mean, if that's what it is, you know what I mean, then that makes sense to me that they do it over here. I mean, it just, to me, it would have been smarter to maybe try to build it up a little bit because, like you said, with everything you guys just listed as far as what's on the line, I mean, to me, you really got to introduce Joshua to the American market and kind of build it up maybe a little bit more so you can make this so you can do over 1 million pay-per-view.
That's not going to
I just think about my friends who are casual, not even casual boxing fans. None of them really know who AJ really is. I don't think they've ever really seen AJ fight. AJ's not a household name over here. You know what I mean?
The problem,
$1 million pay-per-view buys, you got to have some type of a name brand in America. And neither one of these two, in my mind, you know, not discounting anything you guys just said, just aren't name brands like that. You know what I mean? Like while they're trying to get there, but I just don't. It's just hard.
Well, Floyd Mayweather wasn't a name brand either before he fought De La Hoya. He was only doing 300,000 pay-per-view buys. He fought De La Hoya. He did 2.4. You just have to look at the event. It's not one of those things where you can say, what about, you have to take all of the whataboutisms out of it and just look at what you have in front of you right now. Because if they do one fight right now, they could do a rematch and do a ton of money in the rematch. Joshua could make $100 million in 2 fights.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just a no-brainer. Like you could look at Triple G. Triple G was doing 150,000 pay-per-view buys. He fights Canelo. That fight does 1.3 million pay-per-view buys. That was the second largest amount of pay-per-view buys that Canelo's ever done. And the only other time was with Mayweather. So it's just you got to put the right dance partners together, and you have to make the right event, and it just works. This just works. This event, I'm telling you, this is a can't miss. It's the biggest fight in boxing right now.
Beeb, the thing, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm not disagreeing with you, Beeb. But my only point is this: is that every time, all these advantages, all these scenarios that you're giving me as examples, somebody in that mix was a verifiable American pay-per-view star beforehand. And that's why I just think it's strange. I'm not saying I don't believe you. I believe what you're saying. You know what I mean? And if the hotel will put it up, and if the number is 600,000, I believe they could probably do that. But to me, it's just something that's never been done before, where we're going to make this out to be this ginormous fight, but neither of the two of the people involved in this fight are verifiable American pay-per-view stars. I mean, you said Floyd did 300,000 pay-per-views before. 300,000 pay-per-views is more than anybody in boxing right now outside of Canelo is doing.
Well, Joshua is a star. Joshua is a star. He's doing 1.5 million.
Oscar, hold on. When Floyd fought Oscar, that was the most Oscar had ever done too. Now, I think a big piece of that puzzle was the 24/7, because that was the first time that 24/7 had ever been done.
Well, there you go.
You want to discount that from the mix.
There you go. Joshua is the number 5 most marketable athlete in the world. Keep that in mind, in the world. That says something. He came over here for a week. He was on ESPN. He was on Stephen A. Smith's show. He was on Conan O'Brien. The crowd was going crazy for him. He was at an NBA game. People were cheering for him. He was talking to all the NBA players. He is that man. He is that star. And Wilder is starting to talk a lot. He's starting to make a name for himself too. So yeah. I mean, without Floyd, Canelo and Cotto did 900,000. Okay. All the other fights that Canelo's done, he did 600,000 with Amir Khan. He did 300,000 with Liam Smith. So he was in there with Golovkin. He did 1.3. Joshua, you're talking about established stars. Joshua is an established star, and I think if they come over here and they promote this fight and they have it in November, they have plenty of time to hype this fight up. I'm telling you right now, it doesn't matter about all the whataboutisms. Don't matter. This event is it's a can't miss. Really, look at how many people are talking about it right now.
Okay.
I just don't think.
It's a very debatable topic. A lot of people on the internet are on fire about it. Everybody in the YouTube boxing community wants to make a video a day about the damn thing.
Right.
I get what you're saying. You know what I mean? But like I said, I'm not disagreeing with you. So I'm not going to play devil's advocate if I'm really not disagreeing with you, essentially. But you get where my leeriness about it is.
You have every right to feel that way, but I have one question for you. Why was someone or some group of people willing to invest $50 million up front if there's no interest for this fight in the United States? That's what I'm saying.
I'm not saying that.
That's what I'm saying.
$50 million is to guarantee to Joshua, and basically Wilder basically takes the upside. As long as the upside doesn't go over whatever what Joshua will get. That's just a big number, man. That's a big number. And I mean, it's just like what they were paying Ward or what they were supposedly paying Cotto. Some of these events weren't profitable. I mean, $50 million is a lot of money to give to somebody who is not a bona fide, verifiable American pay-per-view star.
Well, see, Brandon, that's your key word. Joshua is not known here in America, but he's known worldwide. He's number 5 ranked in marketing and commercials and all and endorsements.
But you know what? But Floyd never had an endorsement. So Floyd could do pay-per-view numbers. You know what I'm saying? So endorsements and having somebody come out of pocket to pay for you to fight is two different things. You know what I'm saying?
I'll be honest with you.
It's a good statistic for him to have. Mm-hmm.
Can I tell you one thing? And this is just my opinion, and you can very well disagree with this. If they signed for this fight to be in the United States, and they had it for November, they started promoting it months ahead. They brought Joshua over for a month straight, and had him just putting him on every talk show that we have here in the United States. Honestly, I don't think it would take much for Joshua to become a star over here. No. He just has that look. He has the way he carries himself. And my argument also is, when you said you want to build this fight, and again, that's not a bad argument to have. I mean, I disagree with it, but again, I'm not discrediting it. But what I'm saying is, you want to introduce somebody to the American public. You don't want to bring him. You don't want to do that with the big baby Miller. You want to do that with someone that people are like, wow, this is a great fight. This is, these two guys got heat together. This is a dangerous fight. This is the two best in the division. This is for all the belts. Both of these guys can punch. This fight is going to be an awesome. You want it to be a really big event that you really jumpstart this guy's career off in America with. And I don't think you can do that as effectively with the big baby Miller as you would be able to do that with the Deontay Wilder. This is a good opponent to introduce Joshua to the American public to.
But you see now, Beeb, I agree with you as a boxing fan. As a boxing fan, I want to see the fight next. But as somebody, anytime you go to a real fancy restaurant You know what I'm saying? They bring the meal out in courses. They don't throw down the steak the first thing you get in there. You get some type of appetizer. There is nothing bigger than Wilder for Joshua as far as in America. You know what I mean? Maybe the Tyson Fury fight could be a bigger fight over there or whatever. But as far as America and maybe globally, Wilder is going to be the biggest fight because it brings in the U.S. market. So for me, that would mean that if I was his promoter, I would say, look, we got to get you in there with somebody. You know, they really probably should have just fought Dominic Brazil over here, you know, way back when. But, you know, you got to get some batting practice for him over here so he can go out there, knock somebody's head off, and people can be like, oh, shit, this is the guy. You know what I'm saying? And then people can get familiar with him, because for them to come out of pocket, to me, you have to have some type of familiarity with this guy. You know what I mean? Maybe they can just hype it up to the point where people will buy it because it's the unseen and the unheard. If he comes over here and he Wilder beats him, there's nobody else. There's nowhere for those two to go higher. You know what I mean? Outside of a rematch. If the fight is if you get what I'm saying.
Well, Brandon, you're also missing another point. I don't know if you've been listening to the whole show, but we said earlier that Joshua has told Eddie Hearn that he wants to fight in the UK and he's willing to give up money to make that happen.
Well, you know what? That's his decision. I mean, you know, he is the trump card. He's the person that's making, you know, what is it, like 10 digits? You know, he's the person that's making over 10 million a fight right now. Wilder's not making that kind of money. So, you know, at the end of the day, he can kind of do what he wants to do. You know, Wilder needs him a little bit more than he needs Wilder as far as that piece of it is concerned. We can say whatever we want to say, but that's just the truth of the matter, you know. So I agree with you. I want to see the fight. Trust me, I want to see the fight. You know, it's the most intriguing fight and the biggest fight in boxing right now. There's nothing else that really even to me comes close outside of maybe Triple G versus Charlo. Triple G versus Charlo will probably be the next fight I'd be most up for. What would you guys say would be the next fight after that you would be most excited to see?
After Joshua Wilder?
After Joshua Wilder. Any fight that you can make in boxing.
Spence Crawford.
You know, that you would be most excited
How about Spence Crawford?
Spence Crawford, yeah. I love that fight.
Yeah.
Okay. I feel you. I don't know. I think that Triple G Charlo brings out the crazy fan bases. You get the crazy Triple G fans. You get the crazy PBC fans. You'll have your boy. Who's the guy that calls up here every week? The crazy guy.
Jason.
Yeah, you'll have him calling up here every week, screaming. You know what I'm saying? You'll have, you know, people making all kinds of crazy Triple G videos on YouTube talking about how he's better than Monzon and this is the fight to prove it. And, you know, all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Well, I think Spence Crawford, you know, in the ring, probably just as good of a fight, if not better. But I don't think the build-up would be maybe the same. It's just from the fan bases, because, you know, the fighters, you know, it is what it is. But I agree with you. That would be right there for me. And maybe Lomachenko versus Mikey will probably be there.
Oh, that's a good one, too.
Spot.
All right, Brandon, we're going to head out of here, man. Thank you so much for calling.
I appreciate it, man.
Absolutely.
I'll let y'all.
Thank you, Brandon.
Good call. Yeah. Good call. All right, and that is going to do it for this edition of Ringside Reporter. As always, you can catch Robert on Twitter at Ringside Robert, or give him a call at Ringside Robbie's Corner at 917-259-1810. Leave him a message. You can catch Joe Habib on Twitter at JHabib1 and find his YouTube channel at beatingtheoddswithbeeb.com. I'm at Ringside 73, and we will see you next week.
Good night, everybody.
Oh, no train wreck?